Chapter 3872. What's wrong? The Fire Feng people looked at Princess Huafeng suspiciously. Nothing. I'm just a little surprised. Princess Huafeng came back to her senses and shook her head. Hearing this, the Fire Feng people looked at Feng Ho and the others. Then he looked at Princess Huafeng and said with a smile, if it was in the past, I definitely wouldn't leave the Feng people. But after experiencing this, I finally understand that no matter status or power, it's actually not as important as family. Hearing this, Princess Huafeng felt a warmth in her heart. In the past, father restrained you too much. You must be under a lot of pressure. But from now on, father won't interfere anymore. You can do whatever you want to do. As for me, I'm tired and old. Now, I just want to find a place to spend the rest of my life. As for the clan leader of the Fire Phoenix clan, whoever wants to be can be the clan leader. The Fire Feng people smiled and took out a space divine item. With a wave of his hand, two figures immediately appeared. They were Pyrotechnic Glow and Xiao Fu. Sister. Princess. When the two of them saw Princess Huafeng, their faces were full of joy. Because the Fire Python blocked the power of the rules here, no matter who it was, they could freely enter and exit the space divine item. You all know what's going on outside, right? The Fire Feng people looked at the two of them and asked. Yes. The two of them nodded. Although they had been in the space divine item all this time, in the hell of the King of Hades, they could hear what was going on outside. Then what do you think? The Fire Feng people asked. Is there a need to think? Wherever you and sister go, I'll go. Pyrotechnic Glow said. Me too. Xiao Fu nodded. The Fire Feng people laughed and waved his hand. The space divine item flew to Feng Ho and said, the clan members and resources of the Fire Phoenix clan are all in here. I'll give them all to you now. Take care of yourself. After saying that, he led his children and the Daifuka brothers towards the opposite mountain peak. Huo Wenchang, are you also going to betray the Feng people? Huo Dahong roared in exasperation. It's not that I want to betray you. It's just that the Feng people can't tolerate us. Father, you're on your own now. The Fire Feng people's chief shook his head and said without turning his head. When Huo Zihue looked at Huo Dahong, his face was filled with disappointment. She had never expected her grandfather to be such a heartless person. Feng Ho, save me. At the same time, Bing Runing, who was imprisoned by the Phoenix Bell, struggled with all her might while calling for help. He didn't know what Qin Feiyong wanted to do. However, with the grudge between her and Qin Feiyong, it was easy to imagine that once she fell into the hands of Qin Feiyong, she would definitely not have a good ending. However, in the face of her call for help, the Feng people were angry but didn't dare to say anything. Now they didn't even have a sovereign divine weapon. The dragons and Kirans were also watching from the sidelines. They didn't have the ability to resist at all. The Fire Phoenix sword and the group of sovereign divine weapons sighed deeply, and left with Princess Huafeng. Brother Qin, thank you for taking care of my daughter in the Sky Bell divine treasure. Huo Wenchang landed in front of Qin Feiyong and cupped his hands with a smile. It's my pleasure. Qin Feiyong waved his hand and smiled, asking, Senior, what are your plans from now on? What else can I plan? In terms of strength, I'm not as good as you young people. In terms of wisdom, I'm far inferior to you. And all these years, for the sake of the Feng people, I haven't had a good day's rest. So now I want to find a quiet place to stay for a while and relax. Huo Wenchang shook his head and smiled. Qin Feiyong thought for a while and smiled. Then why don't you follow me to the Black Tortoise World? Black Tortoise World? Huo Wenchang was stunned. Yes, the Black Tortoise World is not as strong as the Sky Cloud World, but the people there are kind and hospitable. Even if you want to scheme against them, you won't be able to find an opponent. Qin Feiyong smiled. Is it appropriate? Huo Wenchang hesitated. What's wrong with it? Let's go. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly. Then, he led the group of people and the group of sovereign divine weapons and disappeared without a trace. I envy them. They can live a good life with Qin Feiyong. The white-bearded old man shook his head. Qi Xiaoyun was stunned and he teased, Teacher, if you want to go, you can go anytime. I won't stop you. You little brat. The white-bearded old man laughed and looked at the Feng people and sighed. The fate of the Feng people has changed. Yeah. Qi Xiaoyun nodded. She asked for it. The Qilin master snorted and returned to the hall without looking back. Qi Xiaoyun looked at the Qilin master's back and transmitted his voice. Teacher, if I hadn't fused with the law of destruction in the Skybell Divine Treasury, would the same thing have happened? I don't know. The white-bearded old man shook his head. Sigh. The human heart. It's really hard to guess. Qi Xiaoyun sighed and was about to leave. Xiaoyun, come in. But at this moment, the Qilin master's voice sounded in the hall. Qi Xiaoyun's heart trembled as he looked at the white-bearded old man. Don't worry. Compared to the Phoenix Empress, this old ancestor of yours is rather sensible. The white-bearded old man smiled comfortingly. Hearing that, Qi Xiaoyun took a deep breath and entered the hall. What a pity. The opportunity was right in front of him, but he didn't cherish it. If he was a little smarter, the Feng people wouldn't have suffered such a great loss. Instead, they might have even surpassed the dragons and Qilins. A sigh sounded. It was Long Chun. He shook his head and sighed. Then, he turned around and left with the first prince of the dragons. Long Chun, what do you mean by that? Someone from the Feng people heard his words and immediately asked. Long Chun stopped and turned to look at the group of people. He said suspiciously, don't you understand? Do you think the relationship between your princess and the golden-winged wolf king is enough for you to benefit from it? Her relationship with the golden-winged wolf king? What's their relationship? The Feng people were puzzled. You still don't know? Long Chun was astonished. But after thinking about it, he understood. Based on the Feng people's attitude towards Qin Feiyang and the others, Princess Huafeng definitely wouldn't dare to say it out loud. Let's satisfy your curiosity. Your princess has already gotten together with the golden-winged wolf king. That's all I have to say. Take your time to figure it out. Long Chun smiled faintly and left without looking back. What? She has actually gotten together with the golden-winged wolf king? It's indeed premeditated. She has long wanted to betray the Feng people. Damn it. The Feng people were furious. Long Chun hadn't entered the cave abode yet. He couldn't help but shake his head and sigh when he heard the angry shouts of the group of people. They were indeed a group of hopeless idiots. If Princess Huafeng really wanted to betray them, would she have given the inheritance and the Dominator divine weapon to Feng Ho? Instead of reflecting on herself, she kept blaming others. There was a saying, a pitiful person must have something to hate. This saying was true. The Black Tortoise world. Other than Qin Feiyang and the Fire Python, everyone else was still in seclusion. Compared to the scheming and murky world outside, this place was filled with a peaceful atmosphere. This is the Black Tortoise world? Huo Wenchang looked at everything in front of him in amazement. It was also Bing Runing's first time here. But at this moment, she was in no mood to care about anything else. Her face was pale. As for Hua Zihui, he had been to the Black Tortoise world before, so there was nothing new about this place. He swept his shifty eyes over the Devil's Land and asked, Big Brother Qin, where are Brother Frenzy and Boss Wolf? Qin Feiyang was slightly stunned. He looked at Pyrotechnic Glow and joked, Do you miss them that much? Of course. After all, they are two big brothers. Pyrotechnic Glow said without blushing. Qin Feiyang rolled his eyes and said, Do you miss them or the Divine Brew? Ah! Pyrotechnic Glow looked at Qin Feiyang in shock. Even this little trick couldn't escape this person's eyes? Princess Huafeng's face also darkened. She slapped Pyrotechnic Glow's forehead and said angrily, What time is it now? You still want to drink? No, this is all nonsense from Qin Dage. Do you really believe it? Pyrotechnic Glow felt wronged. With your little trick, who can you hide it from? Princess Huafeng rolled her eyes at him. Huo Wenchang looked at this scene and couldn't help but smile. It seemed that his precious daughter and son were getting along better with Qin Feiyang's group than he had imagined. Suddenly, Huo Wenchang seemed to have thought of something. He looked at Qin Feiyang and said, Can you ask Golden-Winged Wolf King to come out now? I want to talk to him. Ah! Qin Feiyang and Princess Huafeng immediately looked at Huo Wenchang. Why did he suddenly want to look for the white-eyed wolf? Cough cough. Daifuku coughed dryly, looked at the two of them and said, I have already told the patriarch about the princess and the golden-winged wolf king. You've already told him? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Princess Huafeng was also stunned. A trace of worry crept onto her face as she secretly said, Daifuku, Why are you so talkative? We'll find out sooner or later anyway. Daifuku smiled embarrassedly. Princess Huafeng stared at Daifuku, then looked at Huo Wenchang and said, Father, listen to my explanation. There's nothing to explain. As long as you're happy. Huo Wenchang shook his head. Princess Huafeng was stunned again. Today, her father had become too easy to talk to. Pyrotechnic glow shouted from the side, Sis, is this true? Boss Wolf has become my brother-in-law? Get lost. Princess Huafeng kicked Pyrotechnic glow, causing him to cry out in pain. Then, she looked at Huo Wenchang and asked carefully, You really don't object? Daifuku already said that you two like each other and like each other. Why would I object? Huo Wenchang shook his head. Thank you, father. Princess Huafeng was overjoyed. She had finally passed her father's test. Now, she only needed to pass her father's test. If it was in the past, besides her father, there was also Hua Dahong the patriarch and Feng Ho. Just thinking about it gave her a headache. Don't say it. Leaving the Feng people was also quite good. Because there was no burden. She didn't have to worry about anything anymore. She could do whatever she wanted. If that's the case, I should change the way I address you as uncle. Qin Feiyang laughed. In his heart, he was sincerely happy for the two of them. Chapter 3873. Qin Dage, I don't understand. It's my sister and big brother Wolf who are in love. Why are you changing your address? Pyrotechnic Glow scratched his head and looked at Qin Feiyang with a puzzled expression. Qin Feiyang couldn't help but laugh when he heard this. I changed my address to uncle, and White-Eyed Wolf changed his address to father-in-law. How can it be the same? Besides, it's too distant to keep addressing each other as senior. Pyrotechnic Glow was stunned. That's right. Princess Huafeng sighed helplessly and looked at Qin Feiyang. Don't talk nonsense with this fool. It'll lower your intelligence. Sister, you're going too far. How can you say that to your own brother? Are all women in love like this? Pyrotechnic Glow said angrily. Princess Huafeng's veins bulged and she shouted, Try talking nonsense again. Seeing that the tigress was angry, Pyrotechnic Glow shrunk his neck and said with a smile, I won't dare. You guys continue. I'll go take a walk. After saying that, he turned around and disappeared. Princess Huafeng was really helpless towards this brother of hers. Huo Wenchang was also helpless. He looked at Qin Feiyang apologetically and said, Brother Qin, my son is a bit unruly. I hope you can forgive him. I'm used to it. Qin Feiyang waved his hand. Used to it? Huo Wenchang was stunned. Patriarch, you don't know. His Highness was also like this when he was in the Black Tortoise world, so everyone is used to it. And Qin Feiyang and the others are more casual people. They won't care so much. Daifuku smiled. So that's how it is. Huo Wenchang suddenly understood. Father, in the future you'd better not call him Brother Qin. This is a bit messy. Princess Huafeng lowered her head and smiled embarrassedly. Huo Wenchang looked at Princess Huafeng and was stunned for a moment. He shook his head and smiled. What's wrong with that? You're in love with the golden-winged wolf king, not Brother Qin. But they are brothers. When the time comes, one will be your son-in-law, and the other will be your brother. What kind of joke is that? Princess Huafeng was displeased. Son-in-law? We haven't even gotten married yet, and you're already impatient? My daughter, you were indeed born to belong to another family. You haven't even gotten married but you're already siding with others. Huo Wenchang shook his head sadly. When did I? Princess Huafeng blushed. Huo Wenchang shook his head and laughed. After pondering for a moment, he looked at Qin Feiyang and said, How about I call you nephew from now on? All right. Qin Feiyang nodded. It was just a title. It didn't matter. Huo Wenchang looked at the Daifuku brothers and sighed. Daifuku Xiaofu, don't call me patriarch from now on. I'm no longer the patriarch. Okay. Then we'll call you patriarch already. As for the two princes, they'll be young master and young Mississippi. Daifuku smiled slightly. No need. In the future, you can just call me by my name. After all, I've never treated you as outsiders. And I've always seen how you care for Wu and Zihui. In the past, when we were in Feng people, we had no choice but to follow the rules. But now it's different. We're alone. From now on we'll be a family. You can also call Wu and Zihue by their nicknames. Moreover, in terms of age, I have to call you two brothers. Huo Wenchang waved his hand and smiled. Then, Daifuku looked at Huo Wenchang, then at Princess Huafeng. Seeing Princess Huafeng nod slightly, he smiled and said, "All right." Huo Wenchang turned to Qin Feiyang and said, "Nephew, can you let Golden-Winged Wolf King come out now? Don't worry, I won't make things difficult for him." This, Qin Feiyang looked at the ancient castle and shook his head. He's in seclusion to fuse with the inheritance, so let's not disturb him. Fusing with the inheritance? Huo Wenchang was stunned, then suddenly slapped his head. He remembered that Daifuku said that the blood ancestor had given Golden-Winged Wolf King an ultimate inheritance. He nodded and said, "It's my fault. All right, let's wait until he comes out." Daifuku looked at Princess Huafeng and said, why don't you go into seclusion to fuse with the inheritance first? As for your father, we'll take good care of him." Then, Princess Huafeng looked at the Daifuku brothers and nodded. "All right, then I'll have to trouble you." "No problem." Both of them smiled. Qin Feiyang said, "Uncle, I also have to go into seclusion, so I won't be able to receive you personally." "It's fine." Huo Wenchang waved his hand. Qin Feiyang turned to look at Daifuku and smiled. "You're already familiar with the Black Tortoise world. Bring Uncle around for a stroll. As for your residence, pick one of the courtyards over there. Also, the tea garden has a lot of good tea. If Uncle is bored, you can go there and drink some tea. In short, there's no need to be reserved." And Huo Wenchang and Daifuku nodded. Qin Feiyang looked at the fire python and smiled. "Brother Hua, I don't need to say anything more. Just do as you wish." "Got it. After I fuse with the law miniature, I'll go to other places in the Black Tortoise world." The fire python smiled. Qin Feiyang smiled and looked at Bing Runing. "What do you want to do?" Bing Runing looked at Qin Feiyang nervously. "No, what do I want to do to you?" "It's him." Qin Feiyang pointed at the demon ancestor beside him. Bing Runing immediately looked at the demon ancestor. The blood ancestor didn't say anything and just smiled. However, in Bing Runing's eyes, that smile was like a demon smiling at her, making her shudder. "You deal with it yourself." Qin Feiyang looked at the demon ancestor and smiled. "All right." The demon ancestor grabbed Bing Runing and left the Devil's Land without looking back. "Nephew, who is he?" Huo Wenchang looked suspiciously at the demon ancestor's back. "A strong enemy in the past. The future is long. Uncle, take your time to understand." Qin Feiyang smiled and led Princess Huafeng to the ancient castle. The Fire Phoenix sword and the other sovereign divine weapons disappeared into Princess Huafeng's body. "Thank you." Princess Huafeng looked at Qin Feiyang gratefully. "Why are you thanking me? I should be thanking you. With you joining us, the Black Tortoise world will become stronger." Qin Feiyang smiled. When first Princess Huafeng heard this, she was silent for a while before she sighed and said, "Although I've left the phoenixes now, I might not be able to kill them." "I understand. Don't worry, I won't let you do such a thing. Besides, do the Feng people need your help now?" Qin Feiyang said domineeringly. Princess Huafeng was stunned and couldn't help but laugh. "That's right. With Qin Feiyang's current means, not to mention the Feng people, even if the Feng people, the Kirin clan, and the dragons joined forces, they wouldn't be able to threaten him." "All right. I still don't know your name." Qin Feiyang looked at Princess Huafeng. "You finally remembered to ask?" Princess Huafeng shook her head speechlessly. After being together for so long, he had never asked for her name. This attitude was really good. She said, "Fire dance." "Fire dance." Qin Feiyang murmured and smiled. "Then I'll leave the white-eyed wolf to you. Although the white-eyed wolf was unreliable in the past, I can clearly feel the changes in him after being together with you. However, you can't be careless. You have to give him a warning at all times. If he hears this, I'm afraid he'll fall out with you on the spot." Princess Huafeng covered her mouth and laughed. "Fall out? Never. Don't be fooled by our usual bickering. But the affection between us is something that no one can shake." Qin Feiyang shook his head. "I believe that." Fire Dance nodded. Because the white-eyed wolf had already told her about him and Qin Feiyang. They grew up together, and no matter what difficulties they encountered, they had never abandoned each other. This affection was something that even she, as his lover, couldn't replace. Alright. Later, send your father, Xiao Fu, and your brother the epitome of the laws that they need, Qin Feiyang said again. Thank you. Princess Huafeng was stunned and smiled gratefully again. Sooner or later we'll be family. What are you thanking me for? Qin Feiyang waved his hand and entered the castle. He walked to the door of the cultivation room and pointed at the cultivation room next to it. This is the White-Eyed Wolf's cultivation room. You can go to his cultivation room to cultivate in seclusion later. Okay. Princess Huafeng blushed and nodded. After Qin Feiyang handed the epitome to Princess Huafeng, he closed the stone door of the cultivation room and began to focus on fusing the ultimate profundity of the law of light. The Phoenix Empress had only grasped 3 ultimate profundities. As for Qin Feiyang, although he had mastered the ultimate profundity of the law of karma, the ultimate profundity of the law of life and death was enough to compete with the ultimate profundity of a supreme law. Therefore, as long as he fused with the law of light, he wouldn't be weaker than Feng Ho even if he didn't open the eye of heaven. Outside, the Feng people were gone. No one knew where they were hiding and crying secretly. The people of the other forces also returned to their respective cave residences one after another. This matter was bound to become a hot topic of discussion. At the Qilin clan, at the peak of the mountain in the main hall, Qi Xiaoyun stood in the middle of the hall and looked at the Qilin master, who was sitting on the throne with his head lowered and a nervous expression on his face. What are you nervous about? The Qilin master asked after observing Qi Xiaoyun for a while. Qi Xiaoyun's eyes trembled and he clenched his teeth. He had to face what he had to face. He looked at the Qilin master and said, Ancestor, I'll be honest. What is it? The Qilin master asked. Qi Xiaoyun smiled bitterly and said, Didn't you already have a premonition? In that case, the sovereign weapons like the Qilin sword have indeed acknowledged you as their master, just like the Feng people's sovereign weapons? The Qilin master asked. Qi Xiaoyun could clearly sense a trace of anger from the Qilin master. He braced himself and nodded. Yes. Then why didn't you tell me earlier? Why did you wait until I asked? The Qilin master asked angrily. Qi Xiaoyun sighed and said, I didn't dare. This is too serious. I was afraid of angering you. But I'm even angrier now. The Qilin master slammed his palm on the armrest, and a terrifying aura surged out. Chapter 3874. Qi Xiaoyun's body trembled, and he hurriedly said, Ancestor, please calm down. This matter is giving me a headache as well. Indeed, he was having a headache. She could have lived an easy and carefree life. However, Qin Feiyang had no choice but to force him to the heart of the struggle. A headache? The Qilin master felt like laughing. He looked at Qi Xiaoyun and said indifferently, Isn't it a good thing for the sovereigns to acknowledge you as their master? Do you know how many people dream of that? Ancestor, please don't laugh at me, said Qi Xiaoyun. Don't you know what kind of person I am? I'm not interested in that at all. Qi Xiaoyun sighed. Wasn't it nice to drink tea and take a stroll? The Qilin master looked at Qi Xiaoyun helplessly. This descendant of his was good at everything. His only flaw was that he stood aloof from worldly affairs and was too indifferent to fame and fortune. Ancestor, to tell you the truth, Qin Feiyang forced me to do this. He made the divine Qilin swords and other sovereigns swear a blood oath to acknowledge me as their master. Do you think he's doing this out of goodwill? No. He's trying to trick me, forcing me to make a choice on behalf of the Qilin race. Qi Xiaoyun shook his head. The more he thought about it, the angrier he got. The Qilin master sank into silence. So that was the case. Sigh. Although I was forced to do this, if the ancestor wants to blame me, I am willing to accept any punishment. Qi Xiaoyun sighed. Stop putting on an act with me. The Qilin master rolled his eyes. Qi Xiaoyun smiled awkwardly. After thinking about it for a bit, the Qilin master shook his head and sighed. Looks like Qin Feiyang recognizes your ability. Otherwise, he wouldn't have placed all his bets on you. What ability can I have? Qi Xiaoyun laughed dryly. It's good to be humble, but being too humble is hypocrisy. Others might not know about your ability, but how can I not know? Even without this, the future of the Qilin race will still fall on your shoulders. The Qilin master smiled. Huh. Qi Xiaoyun looked at the Qilin master and asked, "Aren't you angry? How can you say something like that?" "I'm angry because you hid it from me. If you had confessed as soon as you came back, would I have blamed you?" The Qilin master glared at him. "Sure enough, old ancestor is sensible. You're much better than that Feng Ho." Qi Xiaoyun chuckled. "Stop flattering me." The Qilin lord couldn't help but feel helpless. To tell the truth, who could sit still in the face of such a thing? But what was done couldn't be undone. The sovereign's divine weapons had already acknowledged this brat as their master. What else could he do? However, fortunately, whether it was him or his clansmen, this kid was quite sentimental. In layman's terms, it meant that there was no disloyalty. It didn't matter that the sovereign weapon was under his control. Anyway, as long as he wasn't as selfish as Feng Ho, as long as the Qilin clan wasn't as unreasonable as the Feng people, these sovereign divine weapons would still belong to the Qilin clan. Speaking of which, I have to thank Qin Feiyang. The Kirins chuckled. Thank him? Qi Xiaoyun was stunned. Yes. If he hadn't forced you to do so, I don't know when you would have stood up and taken on this responsibility. Just work hard. Regardless of our relationship with Qin Feiyang in the future, at least from this point, it can be seen that he has already regarded you as a worthy opponent. Actually, this is good. After all, the future belongs to you youngsters. It's time for us old fellows to step aside. The Qilin master laughed hoarsely. Qi Xiaoyun was touched by those words. Indeed, it was indeed different to have a sensible senior. If Feng Ho was also a reasonable senior, would Princess Huafeng have betrayed the Feng people? Would the Feng people have fallen to their current state? This was the result of a momentary lapse in judgment. But in truth, I don't want to. Qi Xiaoyun felt helpless. He still yearned for his previous life. He was like a wild crane, carefree and carefree. How nice was that? Everyone has to grow up, said the Qilin master. You are no exception. Moreover, compared to ordinary people, you have more on your shoulders. That's because you were born in such an environment. The Qilin master smiled. Don't you still have father and the patriarchs? In truth, even if the sovereign weapon is in my hands, it won't affect me much, said Qi Xiaoyun. That's right. How can their abilities be compared to yours? Moreover, you have already fused with the ultimate profundity of the law of destruction. You have also obtained the miniature versions of other laws. Your future accomplishments will definitely surpass theirs. The Qilin master smiled confidently. All right, I'll work hard. Qi Xiaoyun nodded. He knew he couldn't escape. That's more like it. A man should take on the responsibility of a man. The Qilin master chuckled. Qi Xiaoyun smiled bitterly and asked, what about the Qilin Holy Sun? The Qilin Holy Sun. The Qilin master pondered for a bit before smiling. You can deal with that yourself. I'll deal with it? Qi Xiaoyun was astonished. Was the Qilin master not doing anything? Ancestor, this isn't right. You should at least give me some time to get used to it. Originally, I guess, I kept the Fire Qilin because I wanted him to integrate with the Qilin race. But in the end, I discovered that I had greatly underestimated his relationship with Qin Feiyang. If he had a choice, he would definitely choose Qin Feiyang without hesitation. Fine. Some things can't be forced. The Qilin master shook his head and sighed. Then why do you want him to stay with the Qilin race? Qi Xiaoyun asked doubtfully. The Qilin race didn't seem to lack a Fire Qilin. It's my intuition. This Fire Qilin is different from us, said the Qilin master. Qi Xiaoyun frowned. Different. Qi Xiaoyun frowned. He had interacted with the Fire Qilin before, but frankly speaking, he couldn't find anything different about it. In the blink of an eye, several years passed. That night, two terrifying auras erupted one after another in the Black Tortoise world. They were none other than Feng Zi and Qin Feiyang. They had fused with the laws of light and slaughter, so they were faster than the white-eyed wolf and Princess Huafeng. On the same day, the dragons. A terrifying murderous aura also erupted from a cave abode. It was Long Chun. He had also successfully fused with the law of slaughter. Haha, with 3 ultimate profundities, who else can be my match now? Feng Zi came out of seclusion, and his arrogant laughter resounded throughout the entire Black Tortoise world. Don't be cocky. With your current strength, you're not even as strong as Feng Ho and the others. Qin Feiyong walked out and angrily glared at him. TSK. It's not like I don't have other methods. After I transform, I'll open my blood eye and crush them easily. Feng Zi's face was full of disdain. Qin Feiyong was helpless. Can't you keep a low profile? However, since he had already come to the Nether King's hell, shouldn't he thoroughly investigate the mystery of Feng Zi's background? But how should he investigate? Suddenly, Qin Feiyong's mind flashed with an idea. He looked at Feng Zi and said, "Senior brother, why don't you go to the Moon of Evil to take a look?" "Look at what?" Feng Zi was suspicious. Qin Feiyong asked, "In the past, when you touched that blood bead in the Moon of Evil, did an image appear in your mind?" "Yes, but I couldn't see it clearly." Feng Zi nodded. "In the past I couldn't see it clearly. It might have something to do with your cultivation. And now you have already grasped the three ultimate profundities, maybe there will be some changes." Qin Feiyong wasn't sure. After all, this kind of thing was not within his scope of understanding. "Is that so?" Feng Zi frowned. "Whether there are gains or not, there's nothing wrong with trying." Qin Feiyong smiled. Feng Zi pondered for a moment and nodded. "All right, let's give it a try." The two hit it off, found the fire python, and left the black tortoise world. The fire python had already fused into a miniature, and he had already been traveling in the black tortoise world for a long time. Looking at this vast land, his heart had always been in a state of shock. Of course, the fire python knew about the black tortoise world, because back then the black tortoise world was on the first level of the miracle. To put it bluntly, the black tortoise world back then was simply a small place, not worth mentioning. But how many years had it been? It had actually become such a huge world. It was full of spiritual essence, rich in natural resources, and countless living creatures lived here. What made him envious the most was the atmosphere here. Calm, peaceful. Although there were countless living beings, killing was extremely rare, as if it was a paradise that stood aloof from worldly affairs. Outside, this time, it was nighttime. The Moon of Evil hung high in the sky, emitting a hazy blood light. The mountains and rivers at night were very quiet. People from various forces were cultivating in seclusion. "It's the middle of the night, what do you want to do?" Long Chun walked out of the cave and walked towards the three with a smile. "What does it have to do with you?" Feng Zi rolled his eyes at him. "Don't be so cold, maybe I can help." Long Chun chuckled. "No need." Feng Zi snorted coldly and raised his head to look at the Moon of Evil with a trace of expectation in his eyes. Long Chun walked to the side of the three and followed Feng Zi's gaze. There was a trace of suspicion on his face. Why was Feng Zi looking at the Moon of Evil? "Go." Qin Feiyong patted Feng Zi's shoulder encouragingly. Whoosh! Feng Zi took a deep breath and immediately turned into a stream of light, rushing towards the Moon of Evil. Fire Python looked at Feng Zi's back and smiled. If we can really solve the mystery of his origin, I guess that the Nether King Hell might change because of this. Change? Qin Feiyong was slightly taken aback and said in surprise, "Could it be that the rule power here is related to the Blood Demon King?" "That's not it. The restrictions of the Nether King Hell have always existed since ancient times." "But," Fire Python couldn't help but frown. "But what?" Qin Feiyong was suspicious. "Ever since I became the guardian of the Underworld King's Hell, I have been investigating the situation of the Underworld King's Hell. From some clues, I judged that the Underworld King's Hell was not much different from other worlds even though there were rules and restrictions before the catastrophe," Fire Python said. Chapter 3875. Other aspects? Qin Feiyong was taken aback. "That's right. In the past, there was also human civilization living here." Fire Python nodded. "Human civilization?" Qin Feiyong was shocked. "Yes. To tell you the truth, I found many traces left behind by human civilization in the Divine Demon Forest," Fire Python said. Qin Feiyong frowned. "That's impossible. I have also been to the Divine Demon Forest, but I didn't see any human civilization." "Although you have been there, do you have a comprehensive understanding of the Divine Demon Forest? If I'm not wrong, when you entered the Divine Demon Forest, you went straight to the temple. Because with your strength at that time, you didn't have the ability to set foot in the entire Divine Demon Forest." Fire Python laughed. "That's true." Qin Feiyong nodded. The divine demon forest was huge. When they entered, what they saw was just the tip of the iceberg. Fire Python suddenly looked at Long Chan and asked, "As the son of Lord Ice Dragon, you should be very clear about the situation here." "Me?" Long Chan was taken aback and smiled bitterly. "I'm the same as you, I don't know anything." "All right." Fire Python was helpless. Was this guy really Ice Dragon's biological son? Long Chan said unhappily, "What kind of look is that? Don't doubt this. He is definitely Ice Dragon's biological son." Fire Python smiled and looked at Qin Feiyong. "Feather Emperor definitely knows. Why don't you ask him to come out and help us solve the doubts in our hearts? Let's talk about this later. Let's see how senior brother is doing first." Qin Feiyong looked up and focused on the evil moon. At this moment, Frenzy had entered the evil moon. Frenzy was already familiar with everything in the evil moon. Endless evil force surged. To any living being this was fatal, but to Frenzy, it was like returning to his mother's embrace. Not only did he not feel threatened, but there was also a trace of warmth. Very soon, he entered the center of the evil moon. The blood bead that he hadn't seen for a long time once again entered his sight. It was the size of a palm and seemed to be condensed from blood, emitting a terrifying aura. "If you are really related to me, please stop rejecting me and tell me the answer." The madman looked at the blood bead and muttered. He raised his arm and approached the blood bead. What a surprise! This time, not only did the blood bead not repel the madman, it even flew towards the madman and landed in his hand. Boom! There was a loud sound in the madman's mind, and the scene of a battlefield appeared. In the scene, a giant and a dragon were engaged in a frenzied battle. Heaven and earth were destroyed, and all living beings were plunged into misery and suffering. It was a scene of doomsday. This madman was stunned. At this moment, the image that appeared in his mind was no longer blurry. It was incomparably clear. Furthermore, the tearing pain that had been caused by the appearance of the battle scenes did not appear again. He was like a wandering soul, standing in an unfamiliar world, watching everything that was happening before his eyes. Heaven and earth were collapsing. Countless living beings were howling in despair. There were humans and ferocious beasts. This was a complete continent with verdant hills and limpid waters. The scenery was pleasant. However, at this moment, because of the confrontation between the giant and the dragon, it was rapidly heading towards destruction. Could this be the former Nether King Hell? The madman muttered. "Why are you so cruel? Are they not living beings?" The giant roared in grief as he fought. His eyes were filled with tears of blood, dyeing the world red. The madman looked at the giant. It was covered in blood-red hair like an ancient giant ape. It was exactly the same as the transformed blood demon race. It was more like another him. Looking at the giant's tears of blood, the madman couldn't help but feel anger and sadness. It was as if he was connected to the giant's heart. "In the eyes of my divine kingdom, all living beings are ants." Another cold voice sounded. "Divine kingdom." The madman clenched his fists and looked at the giant dragon. Because the one who spoke was the giant dragon. He didn't know if he didn't look, but when he looked, his mind buzzed. It was actually a purple gold divine dragon. That's right. It was a purple gold divine dragon. In the past, he couldn't see it clearly and could only see a vague outline. But now, everything was clearly presented in his mind. The purple gold divine dragon was tens of thousands of feet long. Its strength was sky-high. Every dragon scale and drop of dragon blood exuded a world-destroying divine power. Purple gold divine dragon, blood demon king. The madman had an answer in his heart. The giant was the legendary blood demon king. And this purple gold divine dragon, without a doubt, was the leader of the divine nation's experts that the blood ancestor had mentioned back then, who had led the invasion of the lower realm. The blood ancestor had said, back then, a divine kingdom powerhouse led a group of people from the divine kingdom to invade the lower realm. At that time, it was the blood demon king who led the blood demon race to intercept the Nether King Hell. In the end, not only did the blood demon king die in battle, but the entire blood demon race was almost wiped out. And almost all the powerhouses of the divine kingdom died in battle. Only the leader returned to the divine kingdom with serious injuries. Judging from the scene, there was no doubt that this purple gold divine dragon was the leader. And it was still alive. The bloody battle was still continuing. Ant. What a ridiculous word. All things in the world are equal. Every living being has its value. What right do you have to control the fate of others? As long as I am here today, you can forget about stepping into other continents. The Blood Demon King roared towards the sky. A blood-colored ancient tower soared into the sky, suppressing all directions. This was the Blood Demon Tower. There were a total of 10 floors. And at the top of the tower, there were 2 palm-sized blood beads that emitted a monstrous bloody light. Sovereign weapon. The madman's eyes trembled. The complete Blood Demon Tower was indeed a sovereign weapon. The Blood Demon Tower charged towards the purple gold divine dragon with the power to destroy the world. Humph! The purple gold divine dragon snorted. A purple gold ancient palace appeared, with countless dragons roaring inside. Divine might filled the sky. This was also a sovereign weapon. Boom! The 2 sovereign weapons collided. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The sun and moon lost their light. The entire Nether King Hell instantly fell into a scene of destruction. The battle lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. The Nether King Hell was destroyed and all living beings died. Only a few blood demons were left, but they were also on the verge of death. Looking at all of this, the Blood Demon King smiled bitterly. He had already tried his best, but he was still unable to protect the living beings of the Nether King Hell. Divine Kingdom, sooner or later, you will pay the price for today's actions. The Blood Demon King burned his own life force and turned into a demon god. He led the Blood Demon Tower and crazily charged towards the purple gold divine dragon. At this moment, the madman, as a bystander, also felt a tragic emotion in his heart. Drops of tears even fell from the corners of his eyes. Boom! With the collision between the Blood Demon King and the purple gold divine dragon, everything finally came to an end. The Blood Demon King died on the spot. The Blood Demon Tower was also torn apart. The purple gold divine dragon also let out a miserable cry. Its body was shattered and its divine soul was annihilated. The purple gold ancient palace also shattered on the spot. Blood demons, just you wait. The next time the divine kingdom descends, your race will be exterminated. However, the purple gold divine dragon's divine soul wasn't completely annihilated. Only a trace of it was left. After leaving behind a murderous sentence, it escaped with the broken ancient palace. I didn't expect that the battle back then would be so tragic. The madman murmured. That's right. This is that battle. Suddenly a voice sounded. Who? The madman was startled. Before his voice fell, a blood-red figure rushed out from the blood bead in his hand and floated in front of him. You are? The madman looked at the blood shadow opposite him in surprise. I am the artifact spirit of the Blood Demon Tower. The blood shadow said. Artifact spirit? The madman was stunned. Yes. The blood shadow nodded. Artifact spirit? The madman's face was full of surprise. Didn't the Blood Demon Tower already have an artifact spirit? Why did another one jump out? Because the Blood Demon Tower had always been by his side, and had communicated with the artifact spirit more than once. The other artifact spirit is also me. Back then I was divided into 2. Half of my consciousness was in the Blood Demon Tower and the other half was in this blood demon bead. The blood shadow explained. Then why didn't you tell me this? The madman frowned. Because you haven't grown up yet, and don't have the ability to shoulder this heavy burden. But it's different now. You have already grasped 3 ultimate mysteries. In terms of strength, you have surpassed your previous life because in your previous life, you only grasped 1 ultimate law. The blood shadow smiled in relief. Previous life. The madman was stunned for a moment and looked at the blood shadow in shock. Don't tell me that I am the reincarnation of the Blood Demon King? Yes. The blood shadow nodded. Damn. The madman cursed. He was actually such an amazing person. The blood shadow hesitated for a moment and looked at the madman. Don't be proud too early. Now you have to face 2 choices. What choices? The madman was suspicious. The blood shadow said. The first choice is to inherit the memories and law inheritance of your previous life. What? The memories and law inheritance of my previous life. The madman was stunned. Yes. When you died, I sealed your memories and the ultimate profundities of the law of destruction that you grasped in this blood demon orb. As long as you are willing, You confuse your memories and this inheritance now. The blood shadow smiled. The ultimate law of destruction, the madman muttered and shouted. Is there even a need to say this? Of course this daddy is willing. Don't dawdle, hurry up. Cough cough. The blood shadow coughed and said helplessly, don't be anxious. Let me finish. If you really fuse with the memories of your previous life, this may affect your relationship with Qin Feiyang. What does fusing with the memories of my previous life have to do with old Qin? The madman was suspicious, because Qin Feiyang is the descendant of the purple gold divine dragon. And your previous life hated the divine kingdom, and the purple gold divine dragon to the bone. Therefore, if you fuse with the memories of your previous life, it may have a certain impact on you. The blood shadow explained. You mean after fusing with the memories of my previous life, I will hate old Qin? The madman asked. Yes. The blood shadow nodded. Impossible. I know old Qin's situation better than anyone else. Even if he has the bloodline of the purple gold divine dragon, it won't have any impact. The madman waved his hand with a confident look. Chapter 3876. Are you sure? Blood shadow asked. I'm sure. Madman nodded, but after speaking, he hesitated and asked, what about the second choice? The second choice is of course to give up the memories and inheritance of your previous life. This way you won't be affected by the memories of your previous life, and will still be as close as brothers with Qin Feiyang. Blood shadow said. Madman nodded and asked, then I can't just take the inheritance and not the memories of my previous life? No. The situation was urgent, so I fused the inheritance and memories together. Blood shadow shook his head. Why are you so unreliable? Madman was speechless. Can you blame me for this? You saw it just now. When your previous life's blood demon king was about to die, I almost couldn't even protect myself. To be able to keep your inheritance and memories in such a dangerous situation is already very difficult. Do you understand? Blood shadow said angrily. Madman smiled embarrassedly. After pondering for a while, he said with a firm gaze, I must take the inheritance, and I will definitely not lose old Qin as a friend. Don't worry. Don't be so confident. Fusing the memories of your previous life isn't as simple as you think. At that time there might even be a split personality. Blood shadow warned. Split personality? The corner of Madman's mouth twitched. With a dark expression he said, can you not scare me? My feelings for old Qin. Pui, he isn't even a girl, what feelings do I have? In short, my friendship with old Qin will never change. Since you are so confident, then I won't say anything else. Anyway, you just have to be mentally prepared. After Blood Shadow finished speaking, he immediately disappeared into the blood bead. Then the blood bead rose into the air and entered between Madman's eyebrows. Boom! A huge amount of information suddenly exploded in Madman's mind. Old Qin, don't worry about me. I am fine now. Go do what you need to do. Madman shouted and sat cross-legged. He closed his eyes and accepted the memories and inheritance of his previous life. What's the situation? Below, Qin Feiyang and Fire Python exchanged glances. Long Chen asked, why don't we go and take a look? Don't go. Qin Feiyang hurriedly stopped him. Madman had already said that he was fine, so why bother? Furthermore, what if the madman had obtained some good fortune and caught Long Chen's attention? That would be bad. Qin Feiyang's vigilance made Long Chen feel rather helpless. In the current situation, there was really no need to guard against him like this. The Fire Python asked, when do you plan to return to the Sky Cloud realm? Qin Feiyang looked at Long Chen. Long Chen shrugged and said, I can do it any time. In any case, he meant to let Qin Feiyang make the decision. Qin Feiyang pondered for a moment. It was indeed time to go back, because the god-slaying tablet was still waiting to transcend its tribulation. But once he went back, he would definitely face the experts of the Divine Kingdom. Furthermore, the blaze magic sword had not been repaired yet, so he was not confident about going back now. I'll go to the Black Tortoise realm first. After pondering for a while, Qin Feiyang looked at Long Chen and said something. Then he instantly disappeared without a trace. Long Chen also looked up at the evil moon again and murmured, what the hell is going on? At the same time, the Fire Python looked at Long Chen. It seemed to have something to say but didn't dare to say it. What do you want to say? Long Chan noticed the fire python's abnormality and turned his head to ask. This, ahem. Can I ask you for a favor? The fire python asked. What favor? Long Chan was suspicious. You are the son of Lord Ice Dragon. You can definitely say something. Can you ask Lord Ice Dragon to remove the restrictions of the rules of hell? The fire python's face was full of pleading. Remove the restrictions of the rules? Long Chan was taken aback. Yes, the creatures of hell, no matter how they cultivate, their cultivation can only reach the 9th heaven realm. They can't reach the undead realm. This is really pitiful. The fire python sighed. So that's how it is. Long Chan suddenly understood and said with a smile, You're quite kind as a guardian. This was because guardians generally gave people the impression that they were high and mighty, and looked down on creatures like ants. Not at all. Anyway, I'm just putting myself in your shoes. The fire python shook its head. Long Chan asked, Then according to what you said, the restrictions here were set by my father? I don't know about that. But even if it's not Lord Ice Dragon must have a way. The fire python's face was full of expectation. This? Long Chan thought for a while and shook his head. I can't guarantee anything. I can only tell you that I'll try my best. After all, I don't have much say in my father's words. Besides, my father is not omnipotent. Anyway, don't get your hopes up. Besides, since there are restrictions in a place, there must be a reason for its existence. Long Chan added. Yes, thank you. The fire python nodded and smiled gratefully. Whoosh! Qin Feiyong came out. Along with him were the Feather Emperor, the Little Rabbit, and the Blood Ancestor. Qin Feiyong entered the Black Tortoise realm because of the little brat. How long would it take for the Blaze Magic Sword to be repaired? The answer he got made him feel extremely helpless. The little brat said that even in the land of origin, it would take at least 100 years for the Blaze Magic Sword to be restored to its peak state. How could he afford to wait 100 years? Therefore, he found the Little Rabbit, the Feather Emperor, and the Blood Ancestor to discuss. The four of them discussed for a while and decided to go back to the Sky Cloud realm to take a look. It seems that this little lunatic has already decided. The Feather Emperor looked up at the evil moon and shook his head with a smile. Decided? Qin Feiyong was stunned. You'll know in the future. The Feather Emperor did not explain. Qin Feiyong was full of helplessness. When it came to keeping people in suspense, one was better than the other. He asked, What kind of place is the former Nether King's hell? The former Nether King's hell. The Feather Emperor pondered for a while and sighed. Apart from the rules and restrictions, everything else is the same as other continents. There were countless humans and ferocious beasts, but now they're all history. All of this was caused by the Divine Kingdom. When he said the last sentence, a cold light surged in the Feather Emperor's eyes. The Divine Kingdom? How crazy are these people? Qin Feiyong couldn't help but clench his hands. The Blood Ancestor looked at Qin Feiyong and said, The damage that the Divine Kingdom caused to the Sky Cloud realm and the Nether King's hell can never be repaired. Therefore, from now on, you can't show mercy to anyone from the Divine Kingdom. Okay. Qin Feiyong nodded. Then let's go. It's been more than 10 years. It's time to go back and take a look. The little rabbit said. Long Chan took out the badge and opened a space-time passage. The few of them walked in one after another, but the fire python didn't go and stayed on the mountain peak. Did they return to the Sky Cloud realm? There won't be any danger, right? Don't worry, the Feather Emperor, Blood Ancestor, and the little rabbit. Even if there is danger, it shouldn't be a problem to protect themselves. When the various major forces noticed the situation here, they all felt a little nervous. Because whether they can return to the Sky Cloud realm or not depends on the ability of Qin Feiyong and the others. If even Qin Feiyong and the others can't stop the powerhouses of the Divine Kingdom, then they can only hide in the Nether King's hell forever. Boom! But just as the space-time passage disappeared, a terrifying aura erupted from a mountain. A figure rushed into the sky and went straight for the evil moon. Feng Ho, what are you doing? The fire python's face changed and shouted. It's none of your business, get lost. Feng Ho coldly shouted, and the power of law surged all over her body. Obviously, She knew that Madman was inside. Although she didn't know what Madman was doing inside, it was a great opportunity for her. But to her, this was an excellent opportunity because if Qin Feiyong and the others left, there would be no one to help the Madman. In short, she wanted to take the opportunity to kill Madman. However, before she could even get close, a wave of evil energy appeared and rushed towards her from all directions. Humph! Feng Ho coldly snorted, and the ultimate profundities of the law of destruction and the law of space appeared and attacked the evil force. With a loud bang, the evil force was annihilated. Despicable! The fire python said angrily. However, he couldn't interfere in a battle of this level. Phoenix Queen, you're fucking courting death. Madman's shout sounded in the evil moon. But before Madman could make a move, a young man in white walked out of a cave. It was Qi Xiaoyun. He stepped into the sky, looked at the evil moon, and said with a smile, Brother Mo, don't worry and enter seclusion. Leave her to me. Qi Xiaoyun's action was equivalent to making a decision. Qi Xiaoyun, what are you doing? Feng Ho turned and glared at Qi Xiaoyun. Qi Xiaoyun sighed and said, Feng Ho, stop. People who don't know you will think that you are a mad dog. You are courting death. Feng Ho's killing intent rose, and she immediately attacked Qi Xiaoyun with two ultimate profundities. Sigh. Qi Xiaoyun sighed. With a wave of his hand, the Qilin divine sword and other sovereign weapons appeared. Terrifying divine might surged out like a torrent, and the two ultimate profundities were shattered. You? Feng Ho looked at this scene in shock and anger. The sovereign weapons of the Qilin clan were all in this person's hands? Qi Xiaoyun smiled and said, the current me can represent the entire Qilin clan. You? The entire Qilin clan. Feng Ho couldn't believe it. That's right. Qi Xiaoyun nodded. Qi Xiaoyun, who gave you the guts to say such words? At this time Qi Xiong, Qi Yefeng, and the other patriarchs appeared and glared at Qi Xiaoyun. They were still unaware of the conversation between the Qilin master and Qi Xiaoyun. Thus, in their opinion, Qi Xiaoyun's words were disgraceful. As for Qi Xiaoyun's father, Qi Ji, the patriarch of the Fire Qilin clan, he also walked out of the cave. However, he did not interfere. As Qi Xiaoyun's father, he was naturally aware of Qi Xiaoyun's situation. If it was in the past, he would definitely stand behind Qi Xiaoyun and become his backer. But things were different now. Qi Xiaoyun was now stronger than him. Moreover, Qi Xiaoyun had the support of the ancestor of the Qilin clan. Naturally, Qi Xiaoyun no longer needed him. Second uncle, stop messing around. Qi Xiaoyun lowered his head and shook his head. I'm messing around? Qi Xiong was furious. He glared at Qi Ji and said, aren't you going to teach your son a lesson? However, Qi Ji merely smiled faintly. Chapter 3877. Qi Xiong was infuriated by Qi Ji's attitude. Although he was Qi Ji's brother, and Qi Xiaoyun was his nephew, he had always disliked Qi Ji and his father. He believed that, in terms of strength and ability, Qi Ji was no weaker than his elder brother. But in the end, the patriarch position of the Fire Qilin clan had fallen into Qi Ji's hands. That made him feel very uneasy. As for Qi Xiaoyun, he had displayed outstanding talent since he was young. Although he usually kept a low profile, he was deeply liked by the Qilin clan's master. Whenever there was something good, he would not be forgotten. On the other hand, his son Qi Yu was different. Although he was known as the young genius of the Qilin clan, his treatment was worlds apart from Qi Xiaoyun's. In short, he was jealous. Second uncle, go back and cultivate. Qi Xiaoyun was rather annoyed when he saw Qi Xiong. This was the reason why he had always disliked fighting for fame and fortune. As long as fame and fortune were involved, even family members would treat you as an enemy. Although his second uncle did not like him much in the past, he still knew how to act on the surface. Normally, when they met, he would more or less pretend to be concerned. But now, he could not even be bothered to act on the surface. Whether it was his hatred for him or his father, he could no longer hide it. What? Are you trying to order me around? Qi Xiong looked at Qi Xiaoyun coldly. How is this an order? I'm begging you. Don't meddle in other people's business. Qi Xiaoyun felt helpless. Meddling in other people's business? What about you? What does what Feng Ho does have to do with you? You actually dare to speak on behalf of the Qilin clan? Who do you think you are? Even elders like us are not qualified to speak like that, let alone you. Qi Xiong retorted. Qi Yefeng and the other patriarchs also had cold expressions on their faces. Qi Xiaoyun glanced at them and shook his head. Looks like it's impossible to reason with you. Boom! As he said that, a destructive force surged out. Qi Xiaoyun's temperament changed greatly with the appearance of the destructive force. His gaze and aura became incomparably sharp. What are you trying to do? Don't tell me I'm going to be like some people and go against my superiors? Qi Xiong and the others were shocked. They knew that Qi Xiaoyun had already fused with an ultimate profundity of the law of destruction. With Qi Xiaoyun's current strength, he could easily suppress them even without using a sovereign weapon. As for the someone, she was naturally referring to Princess Huafeng. Go back immediately. Don't make me repeat myself. Qi Xiaoyun's cold gaze was as sharp as a blade, causing everyone to feel a chill in their hearts. Even Feng Ho was looking at Qi Xiaoyun in shock, let alone Qi Xiong and the others. She naturally knew about Qi Xiaoyun. In the past, the impression Qi Xiaoyun gave others was that he was a young man who stood aloof from worldly affairs. But now he was like a completely different person, showing off his abilities, full of drive. It was like a dazzling star. This should be Qi Xiaoyun's true nature. Go back immediately. Don't make me repeat myself. These words echoed in the void for a long time. This was already a commanding tone. Although Qi Xiaoyun was giving Qi Xiong and the others a great pressure, they did not back down because they were his elders. So what if he had grasped the ultimate profundity of the law of destruction? Would he really dare to make a move on his elders in public? If he dared to do so, not only would others talk about him behind his back, even the ancestor would not let him off easily. Sigh. Qi Xiaoyun sighed deeply. Did he really have to disown his own family if he wanted to shoulder this responsibility? To be honest, he really did not want to make a move on his elders. But sometimes he had no choice. Xiaoyun, do you know why the ancestor is still not doing anything? Suddenly Yiji's voice rang out in Qi Xiaoyun's mind. Qi Xiaoyun raised his head and looked at the great hall at the peak of the mountain. With such a huge commotion, the ancestor was definitely aware of it. Since the ancestor had not done anything, it was obvious he wanted to give Qi Xiaoyun a chance to establish his dominance. If he wanted the Qilin clansmen to trust him, he would first have to make the patriarchs submit. In other words, the ancestor wanted him to make a move on the patriarchs to establish his dominance. Looks like the ancestor is determined to be a hands-off boss. Qi Xiaoyun sighed helplessly. He lowered his head and looked at Qi Xiong and the others. His eyes instantly turned cold. Boom! The next moment, the heavenly eye of destruction erupted with a world-destroying might. 10 rays of world-destroying light shattered the sky and shot toward Qi Xiong and the others. What? Qi Xiong and the others did not expect that Qi Xiaoyun would really dare to make a move on them. In a moment of desperation, they all activated their profundities. However, their strength was not even comparable to the reclusive old antiques. The strongest technique they had was the profundities of supreme profundities. How could they be a match for the ultimate profundities of supreme profundities? Boom! Accompanied by a series of loud bangs, the profundities of various laws were instantly shattered like withered trees. Next, 10 rays of world-destroying light drowned Qi Xiong and the others. Accompanied by miserable screams, everyone was instantly turned into a bloody mess. Their sea of qi was shattered, and even their souls were severely injured. An aura of death enveloped them. At this moment they panicked inwardly. This junior, who had always followed the rules and stood aloof from worldly affairs, was not joking with them at all. Ancestor! The group of people shouted in panic. Currently, only the Qilin clan's master had the ability to stop Qi Xiaoyun. As for the reclusive old antiques, even if all of them showed up, it would be useless. However, the Qilin master did not appear. He did not even respond. What's going on? Could it be that the ancestor is in seclusion? The group of people was bewildered. At the same time, they were extremely terrified. Qi Xiaoyun looked on silently. Qi Xiaoyun, what are you doing? Although you are strong now, you can't attack your elders. Stop. Or else, although the Qilin master did not appear, the group of reclusive old antiques could no longer sit still. They all came out to scold Qi Xiaoyun. Or else what? Qi Xiaoyun looked at the old antiques coldly. The scolding stopped abruptly. Looking at the current Qi Xiaoyun, the group of old antiques could not help but feel fear in their hearts. Qi Xiaoyun said, "Stand aside obediently. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite." "What did you say? Impolite to us? Do you still know how to respect the old and cherish the young?" The group of old antiques was instantly infuriated. So it was true that after grasping the ultimate profundity, one could do whatever they wanted. Noisy! Qi Xiaoyun waved his hand, and one apocalyptic radiance after another fell, drowning the reclusive old antiques. Miserable shrieks rang out once again. Blood dyed the sky red. Damn! So this is the prince of the Fire Qilin clan. His ferocity is not inferior to that of Qin Feiyong and the others. The people of the various factions were moved. The sleeping lion has finally awakened. In the future, there will be another peerless genius among the younger generation of the Skycloud realm. Those of the older generation were also muttering in their hearts. Qi Xiaoyun's ruthless side shocked everyone present. Although the patriarch and the old antiques of the Qilin clan did not die in the end, this ability had left a shadow in their hearts. Of course, Qi Xiaoyun would not kill them for real. Moreover, more importantly, the Qilin master did not appear at all. No one was stupid. With such a big commotion, even if the Qilin master was in seclusion, he must have been awakened by it. The reason he did not appear was actually a tacit agreement. The Phoenix Empress had naturally thought of this as well. Looking at Qi Xiaoyun's domineering attitude, she knew that it was impossible to kill Madman, so she turned around and left angrily. Of course she was angry. The alliance of the three clans was supposed to deal with Qin Feiyong. But now the Dragon King sat by and did nothing. The Qilin master was even more excessive. He directly handed over the power of the Qilin clan to Qi Xiaoyun and became a shopkeeper. After a contest, although the dragons and the Qilin clan also lost some sovereign divine weapons, compared to the Feng people who lost all their sovereign divine weapons and lost face, it was many times better. Therefore, in Feng Ho's heart, not only did she hate Qin Feiyong and the others, but she also hated the dragons and the Qilin clan. At the same time, the Skycloud realm. The Skycloud Sea was unprecedentedly calm. White Crane Island. This island that no longer existed was quite famous in the current Skycloud realm. That was because too many battles had taken place here. At this moment above the sea, a group of people stood facing the wind. It was Qin Feiyong, Longchan, Feather Emperor, Blood Ancestor, and the Little Rabbit. Why are we here? Qin Feiyong glanced at the surrounding sea and asked suspiciously. Longchan smiled and said, as expected, there must be experts from the Divine Kingdom guarding Skycloud Island at this moment, so we have to avoid them. Hearing this, Qin Feiyong turned to look at the Little Rabbit. The Little Rabbit waved its paw, and an image appeared in the void in front of it. The scene displayed was Skycloud Island. Sure enough, at the peak of Skycloud Island, a golden figure was sitting cross-legged. It was the middle-aged man in golden armor who chased them back then. Qin Feiyong glanced at the middle-aged man in golden armor, then looked at Longchan and said with a smile quite clever. Longchan was speechless. Listening to what you said, it seems that in your eyes before I was a fool? Qin Feiyong smiled and turned to look in the direction of the land of buried gods. A cold light flashed in his eyes as he looked at Feather Emperor and the other two and said, now he's alone on Skycloud Island. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Why don't we kill him first? How can it be so simple? The Little Rabbit rolled its eyes at him. What do you mean? Qin Feiyong was suspicious. The Little Rabbit said in a deep voice, on the surface, he's alone. But do you know if there are others hiding in his spatial divine item? It doesn't matter. As long as the Lord of the Divine Kingdom doesn't come in person, I think with our current means, it should be enough to crush everything. Longchan also spoke. It was a bit sullen to keep hiding like this. It was better to have a big fight. Chapter 3878. The Feather Emperor hesitated and shook his head. I think it's better not to provoke them. The Blood Ancestor and the Little Rabbit nodded in agreement. Ahem. Longchan coughed and looked at the three of them. Although what I'm about to say is a bit disrespectful, I can't help but want to say it. Now that you've been driven out of your homeland, you still don't dare to attack. This seems a bit beneath your status as leaders. The Feather Emperor, the Blood Ancestor, and the little rabbit immediately glared at Long Chan. That, I think so too. Aren't you a bit too afraid of the Divine Kingdom? Qin Feiyong said with a dry smile. Brat, who are you looking down on? The Feather Emperor looked at Qin Feiyong angrily. No. I just feel that being so timid is not the way to solve the problem. Qin Feiyong smiled. The Feather Emperor raised his eyebrows. Alas, maybe we're really old. But suddenly, the Blood Ancestor shook his head and sighed. The Feather Emperor and the little rabbit couldn't help but look at the Blood Ancestor. Thinking back, we only mastered one ultimacy and dared to fight with the Divine Kingdom. Now, our strength is not what it used to be, but we are still timid. To be honest, we really need to reflect. The Blood Ancestor looked at the two of them and sighed. The Feather Emperor and the little rabbit heard this and fell silent for a while. They couldn't help but smile bitterly. Yes, back then they had the courage to face the experts of the Divine Kingdom, but now they were like cowards. As Long Chun said, they were the leaders of the Sky Cloud realm. If even they were like this, could the Sky Cloud realm still be saved? One couldn't lose their courage. As a leader, one had to shoulder the responsibility of a leader. Phew. The Feather Emperor took a deep breath and looked up at the middle-aged man in golden armor. His eyes instantly became sharp and he said, "We can't always live in their shadow. Yes, today is different from the past. We're not weak now." The Blood Ancestor nodded. His previous fear had disappeared, and his gaze was as sharp as a blade. Little Rabbit glanced at the two people and said with a chuckle, "Either way, we'll have to face them sooner or later. Then let's go all out and fight." Qin Feiyong and Long Chun looked at each other when they heard this. Their dormant fighting spirit was gradually awakened. However, Feiyong, don't be in a rush to attack. Furthermore, you must conceal your purple gold dragon bloodline's bloodline power properly. Unless absolutely necessary, you must not expose it. Feather Emperor looked at Qin Feiyong and instructed, "We do need to pay attention to this. First of all, the Master of the Divine Kingdom doesn't know that the Princess of the Divine Kingdom and the Human Emperor already have a child. Given the pride of the ruler of the Divine Kingdom, once he learns of this, he will definitely be furious. Secondly, you are our trump card. We have to save you for the crucial moment." The little rabbit nodded. "Then what's the point?" Qin Feiyong was displeased. The Blood Ancestor said angrily, "You think this is a game? This is war, not a joke. You have to listen to us." Okay. I'll listen." Qin Feiyong was helpless. The little rabbit looked at Long Chun and said, "And you? Although we don't know how strong you are, as the son of the Ice Dragon, you certainly don't lack powerful trump cards. Therefore, we also hope that you can preserve your strength for the time being. Can I take this as your concern for me?" Long Chun was stunned and asked with a smile. "Up to you." The little rabbit waved her paw. The Feather Emperor shook his head and smiled. He looked at Long Chun and said, "Now, regardless of our identities, we are all members of the Sky Cloud realm. Young people like you are the hope of the future. Therefore, you have to work hard." Long Chun looked at the Feather Emperor, the Blood Ancestor, and the little rabbit. Suddenly, he was somewhat envious of Qin Feiyong. No matter what kind of environment he was in, there would always be a group of elders who cared about him. This kind of warmth was irreplaceable by anything. If only his father could care about him like this, how good would that be? The Feather Emperor took a few deep breaths and looked up at the middle-aged man in golden armor. He sneered and said, "Are you waiting for us? Watch how we catch you off guard. Let's go." The little rabbit immediately led the four people and descended in the sky above the Sky Cloud realm. Boom! The Blood Ancestor immediately attacked. The Death Law, Time Law, and Slaughter Law's ultimate profoundness instantly appeared. The terrifying aura shattered the sky and stirred the sea for hundreds of millions of miles. The middle-aged man in golden armor was startled. He immediately opened his eyes and looked up. When he saw Qin Feiyong and the others, his thick black eyebrows suddenly raised. "Die!" The Blood Ancestor grinned hideously. Generally speaking, such a sudden attack would definitely cause one to panic and be unable to react in time. However, the middle-aged man in golden armor was calm. There was even a trace of disdain in his eyes. Just as the three ultimate profoundness arrived in front of the middle-aged man in golden armor, a terrifying divine power surged out from the middle-aged man's body. Following closely, lightning emerged one after another. This aura, be careful, it's the aura of the thunder battle armor. Qin Feiyong's pupils shrank. As expected, the next moment, a purple gold battle armor appeared on the middle-aged man's body. Lightning swept in all directions. It was the thunder battle armor of the red-haired old man. Is this the armor of the mid-level sovereign divine weapon that you mentioned? The Feather Emperor was surprised. Yes. Qin Feiyong nodded and said in a deep voice, the thunder battle armor is on this person. The thunder battle axe might also be in his hands. You must be careful. As he spoke, the three ultimate profoundness with monstrous power drowned the middle-aged man in golden armor. Even the indestructible Sky Cloud Island was instantly shattered. The surrounding waves surged, covering the sky and the sun. I was worried about not being able to find you. I didn't expect you to deliver yourself to me. The middle-aged man in golden armor's voice sounded in the dust. Clang! Accompanied by a deafening sound, a sharp light emerged and turned into a wave, tearing the sky and splitting the earth as it charged toward the blood ancestor. It is indeed on him. Retreat! Qin Feiyong's expression changed as he retreated with lightning speed. The blood ancestor, Long Chan, the Feather Emperor, and the little rabbit didn't dare to be negligent. They were extremely annoyed. They didn't expect to encounter two mid-level sovereign divine weapons. Two mid-level sovereign divine weapons are not to be trifled with. Celestial Sword, go help. Long Chan whispered. Don't expose Celestial Sword yet. Qin Feiyong stopped Long Chan and shook his head. Celestial Sword was also a mid-level sovereign divine weapon. It could be said that it was the trump card of the Sky Cloud realm. It had to be saved at the critical moment to surprise the enemy with a fatal blow. Long Chan turned and looked at Qin Feiyong suspiciously. Don't worry. Now Fire Dance, Azure Dragon, and the Sea Lion Emperor are all in the Black Tortoise realm. We have enough strength to contend with these two mid-level sovereign divine weapons. Qin Feiyong said. At the same time in the Black Tortoise realm, above the Devil's Land, Qin Feiyong's voice sounded. Fire Dance, Senior Azure Dragon Yunxiang, lend me your sovereign divine weapons. Hearing this voice, everyone who was in seclusion opened their eyes. What was going on? He wanted to borrow their sovereign divine weapons? Could it be Qin Feiyong had already killed his way back to the Sky Cloud realm? Thinking of this, everyone's face sank. They immediately took out their respective sovereign divine weapons. Outside, terrifying sharpness rolled in. Qin Feiyong waved his hand, and the sovereign divine weapons of the Land of Buried Gods, including the Yin Yang Mirror and Princess Huafeng's sovereign divine weapon appeared. Why did he only summon the Land of Buried Gods and Princess Huafeng's sovereign divine weapon? This was because when they fought with the blood-red clothed old man last time, only these sovereign divine weapons appeared. The Divine Kingdom's foundation was unfathomable. If they could hide their strength, they would do so. In short, they couldn't expose their full strength to the Divine Kingdom too early. When the Blood Ancestor saw the sovereign divine weapons appear, he immediately took out the Demon Vanquishing Staff and the Illusory Demon Orb. Although the sovereign divine weapons had been damaged when they fought with the red-haired old man, they weren't too serious. Thus, they had been repaired in the Black Tortoise realm for the past few years. The Land of Buried Gods had 8 sovereign divine weapons. Princess Huafeng had 11 sovereign divine weapons. In addition to the Yin Yang Mirror, the Illusory Demon Orb, and the Demon Vanquishing Staff, there were a total of 21 sovereign divine weapons. The Blood Ancestor waved his hand, and the 21 sovereign divine weapons awakened. A terrifying aura swept out in all directions, and the sharpness that surged toward them instantly shattered the void. Just as Old Wu said, there are quite a few sovereign divine weapons, but that's all. This time, I won't give you any chance to turn the tables. After all, this isn't a training trip. The golden-armored middle-aged man stepped into the air. Wearing thunder armor and holding a thunder axe, he looked like a god. He looked at the Yin Yang Mirror and the sovereign divine weapons with disdain in his eyes. As soon as he finished speaking, a sword light swept out from his body. As soon as this sword light appeared, heaven and earth trembled. This is the Blood Ancestor, the Little Rabbit, and the Feather Emperor were shocked. "This is the sword light we were talking about," Qin Feiyang said in a low voice. "According to the Divine Kingdom's princess, this sword light came from the Divine Kingdom's sovereign divine weapon. And the Divine Kingdom's sovereign divine weapon was a high-grade sovereign divine weapon." He used his most terrifying trump card right off the bat. Seemed like this person was right. The Divine Kingdom hadn't come to train the younger generation. Instead, they had come to kill them. All of this was because the princess of the Divine Kingdom had fallen in love with the human emperor and betrayed the Divine Kingdom. "Die!" The golden-armored middle-aged man waved his hand, and the sword light annihilated the sky as it attacked the yin-yang mirror and the other sovereign divine weapons. Although the sovereign divine weapons had been fully awakened, they seemed particularly small in the face of this sword light. Just as the sword light collided with the sovereign divine weapons, the golden-armored middle-aged man smiled coldly. With the thunder axe in his hand, he instantly charged in front of Qin Feiyang and the others. "Retreat!" The Feather Emperor roared, looking very flustered. But in fact, whether it was the Feather Emperor or Qin Feiyang and the others, they were extremely calm. Their panicked appearance was just an act. It was to make the golden-armored middle-aged man think that they were at the end of their rope. "Without these sovereign divine weapons, let's see how you fight back." The golden-armored middle-aged man sneered and attacked with the thunder axe. Seeing that Qin Feiyang and the others were about to die, the Blood Ancestor suddenly laughed and said, "Do you think we only have these sovereign divine weapons? If we only have these sovereign divine weapons, do you think we would dare to return to the Sky Cloud realm?" As his voice fell, the Sword of Thanatos and the other sovereign divine weapons that had been waiting in the Black Tortoise realm all attacked in an instant. There were more than 20 sovereign divine weapons. It crushed everything in its path. "What?" The golden-armored middle-aged man's body stiffened. He had thought that as long as the sword light restrained the yin-yang mirror and the other sovereign divine weapons, the thunder axe would be able to easily kill these people. But he had never imagined that the other party would have so many sovereign divine weapons. "Sorry, I have something to do today, so I can only update 2 chapters. Chapter 3879. He was completely caught off guard. More than 20 sovereign divine weapons attacked. The thunder battle axe shattered on the spot. The terrifying aura drowned the golden-armored man. The thunder battle armor on his body also cracked. His body was dripping with blood in an instant. Kill him and take the thunder battle axe and thunder battle armor. The Blood Ancestor's eyes lit up. If he could subdue these 2 mid-level sovereign divine weapons, the strength of the Sky Cloud realm would undoubtedly skyrocket. "You overestimate yourself." When the golden-armored man heard the Blood Ancestor's words, he couldn't help but laugh contemptuously. Clang! A change occurred. Accompanied by a loud noise, a monstrous sharpness surged out and swept across the sky. The moment this sharpness appeared, Qin Feiyang and the others felt a fatal crisis. The next moment, a giant sword appeared. This sword was 3 meters long and as wide as an adult's palm. It was purple-gold in color, and a purple-gold divine dragon was clinging to it. The golden-armored man grabbed the giant sword and slashed it in the air. Thousands of sword lights appeared, containing an indestructible power. The Sword of Death and the other sovereign divine weapons were shattered. How is this possible? Not to mention the sovereign divine weapons, even Qin Feiyang and the others couldn't help but shudder in fear. A total of more than 20 sovereign divine weapons were all damaged in an instant. What level of sovereign divine weapon was this giant sword? Boom! After the yin-yang mirror and the other sovereign divine weapons shattered the sword chi, they shouted, "Run!" Long Chan quivered, held the badge in his hand, and quickly opened a space-time passage. Quick! No one dared to delay. Whether it was Qin Feiyang and the others or the sovereign divine weapons, they immediately rushed into the space-time passage. "Still want to run?" The golden-armored man sneered and slashed the passage with his sword. The passage collapsed immediately. Qin Feiyang and the others, along with the sovereign divine weapons, fell out of the space-time passage. They all looked extremely miserable. No one can escape. The golden-armored man was like a god of death. The purple-gold giant sword swept toward Qin Feiyang and the others. At this moment, Qin Feiyang and the others, as well as the sovereign's divine weapons, sensed the aura of death. Without any hesitation, they turned around and fled. Do you know what it means to have no way out? The golden-armored middle-aged man laughed out loud. The giant sword's godly might surged, sweeping up the golden-armored middle-aged man and chasing after Qin Feiyong and the others. Its speed was many times faster. Is this the divine weapon of the sovereign of the divine kingdom? Long Chen's gaze was solemn. This huge sword's power had already far surpassed a middle-class dominator weapon. If it wasn't a high-class dominator weapon, then what was it? Just how powerful is a high-grade dominator weapon? Qin Feiyong frowned. I don't know. The Blood Ancestor, the Feather Emperor, and the Little Rabbit shook their heads. This was the first time they had seen a sovereign weapon of this level. Long Chan said, I remember Father saying before that a high-class dominator divine weapon requires 10 mid-class dominator divine weapons to contend against it. What? Only 10 mid-level dominator divine weapons can contend against it. Qin Feiyong and the others were dumbfounded. According to this calculation, wouldn't they need at least 100 low-class dominator divine weapons to contend against a high-class dominator divine weapon? Because 10 low-class dominator divine weapons could contend against 1 mid-class dominator divine weapon, and 10 mid-class dominator divine weapons were naturally equal to 100 low-class dominator divine weapons. 100 low-class dominator divine weapons. Even if all the dominator divine weapons in the Sky Cloud realm were added together, they still wouldn't be able to gather that many. Brother Qin, it seems like we still need you to make a move. Long Chan smiled bitterly. He didn't expect the Divine Kingdom to take out such a terrifying trump card right from the start. 2 mid-class dominator divine weapons and 1 high-class dominator divine weapon. For the Sky Cloud realm, it was simply a one-sided situation. Although Long Chan also had the Heavenly God Sword as a trump card, it seemed to have lost its effect against the giant sword. Qin Feiyong's eyes flickered. He suddenly stopped and turned to look at the golden-armored middle-aged man. You know you can't escape, so you've given up? The golden-armored middle-aged man also stopped and looked at them mockingly. Do you have to make a scene like this? Qin Feiyong didn't answer but asked instead. The golden-armored middle-aged man was stunned. Long Chan couldn't help but turn to look at Qin Feiyong. There was a trace of suspicion in his eyes. What was this guy thinking to ask such a question? The Sky Cloud realm isn't in the wrong. It's your divine kingdom that's in the wrong. Back then, the younger generation of your divine kingdom came to the Sky Cloud realm and used it as a training ground. You harmed innocent creatures and even wanted to harm the underworld king, hell, and other continents. Have you ever thought about how much harm this will bring to us? Qin Feiyong frowned. Are you trying to reason with me? The golden-armored middle-aged man looked at Qin Feiyong strangely. I just want you to stop invading the Sky Cloud realm and other continents. Otherwise, you'll harm innocent creatures and give us a chance. Qin Feiyong sighed. Hearing these words, Feather Emperor, Little Rabbit, and Blood Ancestor couldn't help but turn to look at Qin Feiyong. Give each other a chance. The meaning of these words was quite obvious. Qin Feiyong wanted to reconcile with the Divine Kingdom. Thinking about it, it made sense. Although Qin Feiyong had already stated that he would always stand on the side of the Sky Cloud realm, the Divine Kingdom was the home of the Divine Kingdom's princess after all. Moreover, Qin Feiyong didn't have to think for himself, but he had to think for Qin Badian. Qin Badian was the son of the human emperor and the Divine Kingdom's princess. The king of the Divine Kingdom was Qin Baishan's grandfather. Grandfather, these were the closest people to him. If possible, no one wished for them to completely fall out with each other. They were originally a family. Why bother? Everyone should be friendly and give each other a chance to get along. Wasn't that good? Sigh. The Feather Emperor sighed. He could understand Qin Feiyong's mood, because Qin Feiyong had always been a person who valued kinship. However, would the Divine Kingdom? Would the high and mighty king of the Divine Kingdom value kinship? He was afraid that Qin Feiyong's painstaking efforts would only be met with merciless ridicule and contempt. Sure enough, the middle-aged man in golden armor had a disdainful look on his face. He sneered and said, "You ants are qualified to talk about opportunities with the Divine Kingdom? It's ridiculous. Everything in the world is equal. Even if it's just an ant, it still has survival value. We don't deny the power of the divine kingdom. But no matter how strong you are still the same as us. You are just a speck of dust in this world. So I really can't see how you are superior to us. I also don't know where your sense of superiority comes from. Qin Feiyang frowned. Why did these people feel that they were superior? Strength? Status? No matter how strong they were or how high their status was, could they be higher than the sky? Hearing these words, the middle-aged man in golden armor looked at Qin Feiyang in a daze. His eyes were as if he was looking at a fool. How could a weak person talk about equality and value in front of a strong person? Was there something wrong with his brain? Whoosh! This time, accompanied by the sound of the air breaking, more than a dozen people came through the air. They were the companions of the middle-aged man in golden armor. They were hiding in various places. When they heard the commotion, they immediately rushed over. More than a dozen people surrounded them. Their auras were unfathomable. When they saw the sovereign divine weapons beside Qin Feiyang and the others, their pupils shrank. There were so many sovereign divine weapons. It seemed that they had underestimated the strength of the sky cloud realm. A middle-aged woman looked at the middle-aged man in golden armor suspiciously and asked, "Why didn't you attack?" "I met a very interesting person, so we chatted for a while." The middle-aged man in golden armor smiled playfully. Interesting person? More than a dozen people were taken aback. They looked at Qin Feiyang and the others. The middle-aged man in golden armor pointed at Qin Feiyang and joked, "It's this kid who talked to me about qualifications, fairness, and value. He even asked us to stop and give each other a chance." The dozen people were stunned and looked at Qin Feiyang strangely. "Kid, what chance are you talking about?" One of the old men in black was curious. Qin Feiyang looked around at everyone and said to the old man in black, "Give peace to the sky cloud realm and give you a chance to be human again." "Give us a chance to be human again?" The group of people looked at each other. What an idiot. Because if he wasn't a fool, why would he say such shameless words in front of them? "Feiyang, they won't understand your good intentions." The Feather Emperor sighed. "Yes. Don't waste your energy. Some people just won't cry until they are in the coffin." The Blood Ancestor glanced at the group of people, his eyes flashing with killing intent. "Ha! You ants are really getting more and more interesting." The group of people laughed mercilessly. Looking at these faces, Qin Feiyang's heart was full of self-mockery. For such arrogant people, he actually had a trace of illusion? How ridiculous. Can't reason with them, okay? Then let's solve it with fists. In his eyes, a shocking murderous intent instantly appeared. Immediately, Qin Feiyang waved his hand, and the major sovereign weapons entered the Black Tortoise realm one after another. The reason for that was because the ruler divine weapons had already been severely damaged. They were no longer of any help. Not to mention now, there is no need for the help of these sovereign weapons. Yo, you can't reason with them, so you're starting to get angry? Don't, we just arrived and haven't heard enough. Continue, it's quite interesting. The middle-aged woman laughed sarcastically. The other dozen people also had a playful smile on their faces. Looking at these faces, not to mention the Feather Emperor, the Blood Ancestor, the Little Rabbit, even Long Chan was angry. Who are you looking down on? Do you really think that the Sky Cloud Realm is a place where you can behave atrociously? Long Chan looked at Qin Feiyang fiercely and said, "Brother Qin, if you don't kill them, I will break off with you." Break off? The corner of Qin Feiyang's mouth twitched, and he said speechlessly, "I don't seem to have much friendship with you, but these people really need to be taught a lesson." The Feather Emperor's eyes flashed, looking at Qin Feiyang, and said loudly, "Since you don't like them, then go and ask Qin Xiaotian to come out and teach them a lesson." Qin Xiaotian? Qin Feiyang was stunned. Long Chan, the Feather Emperor, and the Little Rabbit couldn't help but look at the Blood Ancestor suspiciously. Was there such a person here? To open the Eye of Heaven, you must first open the Purple Gold Dragon Soul. Once you open the Purple Gold Dragon Soul, the people of the Divine Kingdom will definitely think that you are the descendant of the human emperor and the Divine Kingdom's princess. When this matter reaches the ears of the Master of the Divine Kingdom, he will definitely be furious. At that time you may become the most important target in their eyes. We still don't know the true strength of the Divine Kingdom, so for your safety we have to hide it for now, the Blood Ancestor secretly explained. Chapter 3880. That makes sense. The Feather Emperor and the little rabbit nodded. Is that necessary? Long Chun expressed his doubts. Anyway, Qin Feiyang's identity would be exposed sooner or later. Yes. Besides, it won't take much effort. You can go to the Black Tortoise realm and change your appearance. Besides, don't you think it will be fun? The Blood Ancestor's words were full of ridicule. Fun. Qin Feiyang and Long Chun were suspicious. That's right. We will fabricate a character called Qin Xiaotian. At that time, wouldn't it be fun to watch them search everywhere and hunt down this Qin Xiaotian that we made up? The Blood Ancestor laughed secretly. The corners of Qin Feiyang and Long Chun's mouths twitched. This little old man was really bad. However, this wouldn't work. After all, the people of the Sky Cloud realm now knew that the person with the purple gold dragon blood was Qin Feiyang, not Qin Xiaotian. At that time, the people of the Divine Kingdom would casually ask around and find out. I know your concerns, but this is also very simple. Now that the people of the Sky Cloud realm have united, we will go and tell them, and they will definitely cooperate with us. The Blood Ancestor said secretly. Okay, we will listen to you. Qin Feiyang nodded and entered the Black Tortoise realm. What the hell? The middle-aged man in golden armor and the others looked at the Blood Ancestor and the others suspiciously. Qin Xiaotian? Who was this person? He actually said that he was going to ask this person to come out and deal with them? Was this person very strong? The dozen people were not in a hurry to make a move. Because they had the sovereign divine weapon of the Divine Kingdom, they were full of confidence that no matter what tricks Qin Feiyang and the others played, it would be useless. On the contrary, they were looking forward to the person that Qin Feiyang and the others had fabricated. Boom! Soon, a terrifying murderous aura emerged. The next moment, a young man in a blood-red robe appeared. It was Qin Feiyang, but now his temperament was completely different from before. His blood-red hair fluttered wildly, while his entire body was filled with a baleful and vicious aura that couldn't be dispersed. He was like the god of death that had returned from hell. Furthermore, he was wearing a blood-red mask. This mask was condensed from the blood of the Western region's Blood Sea, and its murderous aura was overwhelming. Greetings, Lord Qin Xiaotian. The Feather Emperor, Little Rabbit, and Ancestor Devil looked at each other and bowed. Ugh! Qin Feiyang looked at the three of them in astonishment. Were they also three actors? Long Chun was also quite speechless. He cleared his throat and also looked at Qin Feiyang, respectfully saying, "Greetings, sir." Qin Feiyang had no choice but to cooperate. He said coldly, "No need to be so polite. I just heard from Qin Feiyang that someone wants to kill you?" Yes. It's these people. They are from the Divine Kingdom. Just like last time, they are preparing to invade our Sky Cloud realm. The Blood Ancestor pointed at the golden-armored middle-aged man and roared angrily. Divine Kingdom, you are going too far. Qin Feiyang looked at the golden-armored middle-aged man and the others and shouted. His voice also changed. It was loud and deafening, full of energy, and carried the majesty of a superior. You are the Qin Xiaotian they were talking about? The golden-armored middle-aged man sized up Qin Feiyang. That's me. I have long heard that the Divine Kingdom is very strong. Now I really want to see it for myself. Qin Feiyang smiled coldly. With a thought, the 3,000 clones were activated. Although the 3,000 clones didn't have masks, their facial features were very blurry. Clones? The golden-armored middle-aged man and the others were stunned. This was the so-called strong expert? That was too ridiculous. Did he think that he could scare them by creating a group of clones? But at the same time, the purple gold giant sword had a trace of doubt in its heart. This didn't seem to be a clone. I thought that the people of the Divine Kingdom were knowledgeable. It turns out that you are just a group of frogs at the bottom of a well. Qin Feiyang's blood-red eyes were full of disdain. The 3,000 clones stood behind Qin Feiyang, each of them exuding a terrifying aura. Blood Ancestor. Qin Feiyang suddenly looked at the Blood Ancestor. The Blood Ancestor understood and instantly activated the ultimate mysteries of the Time Law and Death Law. Now I will let you broaden your horizons. Qin Feiyang sneered. Roar! Accompanied by deafening dragon roars, 3,000 purple gold dragon souls roared out. What? Seeing this scene, The disdain on the golden-armored middle-aged man and the others' faces suddenly froze. Purple gold dragon souls. Their faces were instantly filled with disbelief. How could these ants from a low-level civilization activate the purple gold dragon souls? One had to know. Purple gold dragon souls were rare even in the divine kingdom. Eye of Heaven activate. The next moment, an even more shocking scene appeared. The 3,000 clones roared in unison, and the purple gold dragon soul's glabella immediately split open, revealing a third eye. This was the Eye of Heaven. Not only did they activate the purple gold dragon souls, but they also activated the Eye of Heaven? This is impossible. The golden-armored middle-aged man and the others shook their heads. What was even more unbelievable was that these thousands of clones could activate their battle souls. You also know about the Eye of Heaven? It seems that the divine kingdom is not so high and mighty. Qin Feiyang's eyes were full of disdain. The 3,000 clones looked at each other and activated the Eye of Heaven. The golden-armored middle-aged man and the others were dumbfounded. What the hell was going on? Kill him quickly. The giant sword suddenly shouted. The golden-armored middle-aged man was shocked. The giant sword said in a deep voice. He is not a clone, but 3,000 clones. What? 3,000 clones? The expressions of the dozen people changed immediately. At the same time, Qin Feiyang and Long Chun were also stunned. How could these people know 3,000 clones? Quick! Otherwise we will be in big trouble. When the middle-aged woman came back to her senses, she looked at the golden-armored middle-aged man and shouted. It seemed that not only did they know about the 3,000 clones, but they also knew the lethality of the clones. The golden-armored middle-aged man shuddered and charged toward Qin Feiyang with the giant sword. Quick! The blood ancestor urged. However, at this moment, Qin Feiyang was facing a huge crisis. Because the Eye of Heaven could not quickly replicate the blood ancestor's ultimate meaning, it was quite slow, just like when he fought with the Queen of Flame last time. He originally thought that it was slow because he himself had not mastered the ultimate meaning. In other words, if he had mastered the ultimate meaning, the replication speed would definitely be faster. Therefore, whether it was Qin Feiyang, Long Chun, or the blood ancestor, they were all full of confidence. But they never expected that it would still be slow. Was this the upper limit of the Eye of Heaven? Don't panic. Although the speed is still so slow, the environment we are in now is different. You couldn't enter the Black Tortoise realm in the Sky Bell Divine Treasure. But now you can. The blood ancestor reminded. That's right. 5,000 years in the Black Tortoise realm. As long as they entered the Black Tortoise realm, even if it took a day to replicate, it would only take a blink of an eye outside. Moreover, to replicate the ultimate meaning, it would not take a day at all. Qin Feiyang suddenly came to a realization and immediately led everyone and the 3,000 clones into the Black Tortoise realm. The golden-armored middle-aged man raised his eyebrows and his divine sense surged out, instantly capturing the Black Tortoise realm in the void. Shatter his spatial divine item. They all thought that this was just a spatial divine item. Little did they know that they were facing a real world. The purple gold giant sword, with a monstrous sharpness, charged toward the Black Tortoise realm. What are you doing? But at this moment, a shout rang out and a woman around 30 years old appeared out of thin air, blocking the Black Tortoise realm. She was wearing a purple gold dress and her soft long hair was tied up high, looking graceful and luxurious. Princess! The golden-armored middle-aged man and the others trembled. The giant sword also stopped in the void. That's right. She was the princess of the divine kingdom. During these years in the Black Tortoise realm, she had also reconstructed her physical body, and her current appearance was her human form. The princess of the divine kingdom glanced at the golden-armored middle-aged man and the others, then looked at the giant sword and smiled. Dragon God Sword. I thought that after so many years, you had already forgotten me. This sovereign watched you grow up. How could this sovereign forget you? The dragon god sword sighed, his voice filled with vicissitudes of life. The princess of the divine kingdom sighed. I should have disappointed you. You shouldn't ask me this, you should ask your father. Ask the people of the divine kingdom if they were disappointed. The dragon god sword shouted. His tone was full of anger. I'm sorry, but I didn't do anything wrong. I just want to be with the person I like. If my father didn't object back then, why would I leave the divine kingdom? Go back. I beg you, don't hurt the sky cloud realm anymore. The princess of the divine kingdom begged. When Qin Feiyong looked for Yunxiang and the others to get the sovereign divine weapon, she had already woken up. Just a while ago, when Qin Feiyong and the others returned to the Black Tortoise realm, she asked Qin Feiyong to send her out. Qin Feiyong didn't agree at first, but he couldn't dissuade this old ancestor, so he could only send her out. The princess of the divine kingdom came out to persuade the dragon god sword, the golden-armored middle-aged man, and the others. After all, these were her people. The dragon god was her father's sovereign divine weapon, and he had taken care of her since she was young. She didn't want to see Qin Feiyong and the others injured, and she couldn't bear to see the dragon god sword and her people die. Although she knew that even if she came out, she might not be able to persuade the dragon god sword, the golden-armored middle-aged man, and the others, but she still wanted to try. Beg us? Back in the divine kingdom, you didn't beg me because you were arrogant and didn't want to beg others. But now, for these irrelevant outsiders, you actually lowered your head and begged me? When the dragon god sword heard this, he was furious. The princess of the divine kingdom sighed. As long as you can leave and don't hurt the people of the sky cloud realm, I will kneel down. Then kneel before me. Because you really should kneel down and apologize for what you have done and repent. The dragon god sword was furious. The golden-armored middle-aged man and the others were also disappointed. It had been so many years, but they didn't expect the princess to be so stubborn. The princess of the divine kingdom looked at the dragon god sword, the golden-armored middle-aged man, and the others and said with a smile, "If I can let you leave by kneeling, then what's the harm in kneeling?" After saying that, she knelt in the void. Chapter 3 Release at 10. Chapter 3881. Princess, you can't. An old man's expression changed slightly as he hurriedly ran toward the princess of the divine kingdom. Get out of my way. Make her kneel. The divine dragon sword shouted. The old man's body trembled as he quickly stopped. He looked at the divine dragon sword in fear and said anxiously, "She's a princess. How can she kneel to us? She betrayed her family, her people, and the people of the divine kingdom. She's no longer the princess of the divine kingdom. She's a sinner." The divine dragon sword snorted. Hearing this, the old man looked at the princess of the divine kingdom again and couldn't help but sigh. Although he really wanted to help, he really didn't know what to say in the face of the facts in front of him. Boom! Just as the princess of the divine kingdom was about to kneel, Qin Feiyong appeared with his 3,000 clones. 5,000 years in one day. The 3,000 clones had already replicated the two ultimate intents of the blood ancestor in the Black Tortoise realm. The reason he hadn't come out was actually because Qin Feiyong also hoped that the princess of the divine kingdom could persuade the divine dragon sword and the middle-aged man to retreat. However, after watching for so long, not only was the princess of the divine kingdom not persuaded to retreat, but she was even forced to kneel? How could he tolerate this? So, he really did appear with his 3,000 clones to stop the princess of the divine kingdom. Leave it to me. The princess of the divine kingdom looked at Qin Feiyong with a hint of pleading in her eyes. It's useless. Even if you really kneel, they won't retreat. Because in their eyes, you've already betrayed them. You should leave this matter to me. Qin Feiyong sighed. But the princess of the divine kingdom was extremely anxious. I know that you don't want any of us to be injured, but there are some things that we must face. Qin Feiyong then grabbed the princess of the divine kingdom and retreated to the side. Looking at the 3,000 clones, his blood-red eyes flashed coldly as he shouted, "Kill them!" Boom! The 3,000 clones cackled. 6,000 ultimates crazily attacked the divine dragon sword, the middle-aged man in golden armor, and the others. Bastard! We'll settle this score another day. The divine dragon sword roared and immediately swept up the golden-armored middle-aged man and the others and flew away. This was not one of the 6 ultimate profound meanings. Nor were they the ultimate profundities of the 6,000 ordinary laws. These were the ultimate profundities of a total of 6,000 ultimate laws of nature. The ultimate profundity of each ultimate law was equivalent to a sovereign weapon. In other words, now there were 6,000 sovereign weapons. Even though the divine dragon sword was a high-grade dominator divine weapon, it could only flee in the face of such a terrifying lineup. Where are you going? The 3,000 clones seemed to have expected this. They instantly spread out and surrounded the divine dragon sword, the middle-aged man in golden armor, and the others. The 6,000 ultimate profound surged forward. Rumble. Crack. A series of loud blasts took place. What followed was a series of painful screams. The golden-armored middle-aged man and his men were instantly killed. Not to mention them. Even the divine dragon sword could not withstand the aura of 6,000 ultimate profound meanings. A sense of despair shrouded their hearts. The princess of the divine kingdom could not bear to see this scene. She looked at Qin Feiyong and said, "Qin, ancestor, I'm Qin Shaodan now." Qin Feiyong laughed secretly. The princess of the divine kingdom was stunned and said anxiously, "Don't care what you're called. For my sake, let them go." Let them go? Qin Feiyong frowned. Yes. The princess of the divine kingdom nodded. Qin Feiyong said, "But this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Please understand my feelings. Although I've left the divine kingdom, I'm still a citizen of the divine kingdom. Give me some time and give them some time. I believe that I can persuade them." The princess of the divine kingdom said. Qin Feiyong looked at the pleading ancestor and then at the destroyed divine dragon sword and the middle-aged man in golden armor. His face was full of struggle. If he let the divine dragon sword and the middle-aged man in golden armor go, it would be like letting a tiger return to the mountain. But he could not ignore the ancestors' pleading. What should he do? If you kill them now and destroy the divine dragon sword, you will definitely enrage my father. You've activated 3,000 incarnations and the Eye of Heaven. It's indeed very powerful. But the Feather Emperor should not have told you that the 3,000 incarnations are actually from the divine kingdom. The princess of the divine kingdom said, "What? The 3,000 incarnations are from the divine kingdom?" Qin Feiyong was shocked. That's right. The princess of the divine kingdom nodded. No wonder they know the 3,000 incarnations. Qin Feiyong murmured. The 3,000 incarnations are a secret of the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan. It means that apart from the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan, no one is qualified to cultivate it. Moreover, even in the Purple Gold Divine Dragon clan, only the direct descendants can cultivate it. I don't know the current situation, but in the past, there were 3 people who cultivated the 3,000 incarnations. The first was my father, the second was me, and the third was my elder brother. You can imagine. If you really kill them now and destroy the divine dragon sword and enrage my father and elder brother will personally descend on the Sky Cloud realm. Can you imagine what kind of crisis the Sky Cloud realm will face? The princess of the divine kingdom said in a deep voice. Qin Feiyong's face turned pale when he heard this. Who knew the power of the 3,000 incarnations better than him? If the father and elder brother of the princess of the divine kingdom really descended, it would be a catastrophe for the Sky Cloud realm. Moreover, the number of people in the divine kingdom who have mastered the ultimate law is far more than the Sky Cloud realm. Even if my father and elder brother do not come personally, as long as they send enough experts, they can kill you. The princess of the divine kingdom said in a deep voice. When Qin Feiyong heard this, he made a prompt decision and nodded to the 3,000 incarnations. The 3,000 incarnations waved their hands, and the ultimate law instantly dissipated. At this moment, the divine dragon sword had been shattered. Even more than half of its original body had been obliterated. The thunder battle armor and thunder battle axe that were already broken were even more tragic. As for the middle-aged man in golden armor and the others, they were only left with the last trace of their souls. This was still because of the protection of the divine dragon sword, otherwise they would have been destroyed. Qin Feiyong looked at the divine dragon sword, and a light flashed in his eyes. He said coldly, "For the sake of your princess, I can let you go, but I have a condition." Condition? The divine dragon sword's heart suddenly surged with anger. Who do you think you are to be qualified to negotiate with me? However, now it didn't dare to say it out loud. The princess of the divine kingdom couldn't help but look at Qin Feiyong in confusion. What was this kid up to again? Qin Feiyong sneered. If you don't agree, Then even if the heavenly king comes down, he won't be able to save you today. He had already thought about it. Although the Lord of the Divine Kingdom also had 3,000 incarnations, he actually had the upper hand. Because he still had the eye of heaven. Of course, he also couldn't feel confident that he could defeat the Divine Kingdom, just because he had the eye of heaven. After all, as the Princess of the Divine Kingdom said, the Divine Kingdom still had a large number of experts who had mastered the ultimate profound of the strongest law. If the Divine Kingdom were to come out in full force, he wouldn't be able to do it alone. So now he had to solve this problem from the root. What condition? Suddenly, a dignified yet ethereal voice sounded. Father. The Princess of the Divine Kingdom trembled. What? The Lord of the Divine Kingdom? Qin Feiyang's expression changed as he glanced around. However, as far as the eye could see, there was no one at all. Swish. Suddenly, a light shadow swept out from the broken sword body of the dragon god sword and floated in the void in front of Qin Feiyang. It was a blurry and almost transparent figure. Even so, it was as if the ruler of heaven and earth had descended. The void, the sky, and the sea here were all trembling. Greetings, Father. The Princess of the Divine Kingdom looked at the figure with tears in her eyes. This was her biological father. How could she not miss him after not seeing him for so many years? Ah! The Lord of the Divine Kingdom looked at the Princess of the Divine Kingdom for a long time and sighed deeply. I thought you had lived a happy life in the Sky Cloud realm all these years, but in the end you have been sealed until now. Is this the life you want? As a father, how could he not miss his children? Although this daughter betrayed him in the Divine Kingdom, blood was thicker than water. Therefore, this time, when he came to the Sky Cloud realm and learned that his daughter was sealed in the land of buried gods, he was both distressed and angry. Could be said that his heart was suffering. The life I want. The Princess of the Divine Kingdom smiled sadly and shook her head. My husband is dead. The life I want has been destroyed, but I don't regret it. The human emperor is dead? The Lord of the Divine Kingdom was stunned. Yes. The Princess of the Divine Kingdom nodded. How did he die? The Lord of the Divine Kingdom was suspicious. He was attacked by Feng Ho, the Qilin Master, and the Dragon King. Back then I destroyed the gate of the Divine Kingdom and forced you to leave the Sky Cloud realm. I thought that from then on, I could live a carefree life with my husband. But I didn't expect that Feng Ho and the other two would attack us while we were weak. Unfortunately, my husband died, and the Feather Emperor was forced to leave the Sky Cloud realm. He even forced the Blood Ancestor to reincarnate. As for me, although I escaped, as you can see, I have been sealed until now. The Princess of the Divine Kingdom sighed. On the side, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but clench his hands. Although he already knew these things at this moment, when he heard the Princess of the Divine Kingdom say it herself, the anger in his heart couldn't be restrained. Because he could clearly feel the despair, bitterness, grievance, and grief in the heart of the Princess of the Divine Kingdom. And all of this was caused by Feng Ho, the Dragon King, and the Qilin Master. How ridiculous! You sacrificed so much for the Sky Cloud realm, but in the end you received such treatment. Now tell me, are you stupid? The Lord of the Divine Kingdom was heartbroken. He thought that his daughter was living a happy life here, but in the end all she suffered was grievance. Although some people betrayed me, speaking of this, the Princess of the Divine Kingdom looked at Qin Feiyang with a trace of affection on her face and smiled. But there are also people who care about me. I don't regret it. The Lord of the Divine Kingdom couldn't help but size up Qin Feiyang. Suddenly, his eyes narrowed and he said in a deep voice, You actually have the bloodline power of the purple gold dragon blood. Sure enough, blood is thicker than water. Qin Feiyang sighed inwardly. Chapter 3882. Father, please calm down. The Princess of the Divine Kingdom turned pale. This was what she was most worried about, because she knew her father's character too well. Once he knew that Qin Feiyang had the purple gold dragon blood, he would definitely destroy Qin Feiyang by hook or by crook, especially when Qin Feiyang was still a human being. For her father, for the entire purple gold divine dragon clan, a human possessing the purple gold dragon blood was a humiliation to the purple gold divine dragon. The remnant souls of the dragon god sword and the middle-aged man in golden armor also looked at Qin Feiyong in shock when they heard the words of the king of the divine kingdom. The bloodline power of the purple gold dragon blood. Didn't this mean that this person was the son of the princess and the human emperor? Don't worry. Qin Feiyong comforted the princess of the divine kingdom. He also clearly felt the murderous intent of the king of the divine kingdom. However, it was useless to panic now. He could only act according to the situation. The king of the divine kingdom looked at the princess of the divine kingdom and asked, "He is the son of you and the human emperor?" The princess of the divine kingdom was extremely flustered. Qin Feiyong stood in front of the princess of the divine kingdom, looked straight at the king of the divine kingdom, and said lightly, "Don't worry about my bloodline power. Let's talk about our conditions first. You are not afraid of death?" The king of the divine kingdom looked at Qin Feiyong, and his tone was cold. "Who is not afraid of death? But what's the use of being afraid? If I say I am afraid, will you leave the sky cloud realm and return our peace? Let's talk about it later. If I hadn't shown mercy earlier, the divine dragon sword and your subordinates would have been completely annihilated." Qin Feiyong was fearless. The king of the divine kingdom standing in front of him was just a consciousness. He was not a threat at all. "You have guts." As expected of the descendant of the purple gold divine dragon, the king of the divine kingdom laughed, and there seemed to be some appreciation in his words. "Feiyong, you must be careful. Don't be fooled by my father's words. Although he expressed his admiration, it doesn't mean that he won't kill you." The princess of the divine kingdom reminded him secretly. "All right," Qin Feiyong responded. Looking at the king of the divine kingdom, he said calmly, "Actually, my conditions are nothing to you. Why don't you listen to me first?" "All right. Go ahead." The king of the divine kingdom nodded. Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed and he said in a deep voice, "The older generation shouldn't interfere. Let the younger generation compete." The king of the divine kingdom was stunned. The princess of the divine kingdom was also stunned, and then her eyes were filled with admiration. That's right. The older generation of the divine kingdom was not only large in number, but each one of them was extremely powerful. If they were to attack, the Sky Cloud realm would have no chance of winning. This was because in the older generation of the Sky Cloud realm, other than the Feather Emperor, the Blood Ancestor, the Little Rabbit, and the Dragon King, none of them were worthy of being mentioned. As for the younger generation, the young geniuses of the divine kingdom would definitely surpass the Sky Cloud realm. However, the Sky Cloud realm had several geniuses, and she believed that these geniuses could definitely suppress the geniuses of the divine kingdom. For example, Qin Feiyong the madman, the white-eyed wolf, and Fire Dance. Then there were Long Chan, Yunxiang, Li Feng, the Mastagura, and so on. After the experience of the Sky Bell divine treasure, these young geniuses had grown up and were capable of shouldering this heavy responsibility. Especially Long Chan, as the son of the ice dragon, he must have amazing means. As for Qin Feiyong, although she didn't know how strong Qin Feiyong was now, since Qin Feiyong dared to put forward this condition, he must be confident. She believed in Qin Feiyong. Seeing that the king of the divine kingdom didn't speak for a long time, Qin Feiyong smiled and said, "Don't tell me you don't have confidence in the younger generation of the divine kingdom. King, don't be provoked by his words. With the strength of our divine kingdom, we don't need to play such childish games with them." The golden-armored middle-aged man's remnant soul hurriedly said, "Hey." Qin Feiyong laughed. "What are you laughing at?" The golden-armored middle-aged man's remnant soul said angrily. Qin Feiyong said, "If you really have the strength, what are you afraid of?" "Afraid? What a joke. I just feel that this is purely a waste of time." The golden-armored middle-aged man sneered. "Don't be so proud. The younger generation of the Sky Cloud realm isn't bad. In the end, it's still unknown who will be the stronger one. If you are really confident, you might as well try. Of course, if you don't want to, I can't force you. But when the time comes, I'm afraid there will be people talking behind your back. Your divine kingdom is now in a state of disarray. Apart from the older generation, there aren't many in the younger generation who can be brought up to the stage." Qin Feiyong pursed his lips with a hint of sarcasm. As soon as these words came out, not only the golden-armored middle-aged men, But even the divine dragon sword couldn't help but fly into a rage out of humiliation. What I said made no sense? Qin Feiyong laughed. The group was so angry that they were about to go crazy. Haha. The king of the divine kingdom suddenly laughed and nodded. Not only do you have courage, but you also have courage and confidence that others don't have. It really suits the nature of our purple gold divine dragon. Don't keep talking about the purple gold divine dragon. My nature comes from me, and it has nothing to do with your purple gold divine dragon. To be honest, I really don't believe that everyone in your purple gold divine dragon clan is more courageous than others. Qin Feiyong snorted coldly. He said it as if everything he had now was brought about by the purple gold dragon blood. The purple gold dragon blood had indeed brought him a lot of benefits. This was undeniable. But, if a person didn't work hard, what was the use of having the best bloodline power? Take the dragons, the Feng people, and the Kirin clan for example. Their bloodline power wasn't bad, but how many of them had become successful in the end? So, the bloodline power was at most icing on the cake. Fundamentally, one still had to rely on oneself. Hearing this, the king of the divine kingdom raised his eyebrows and said, "Is it so difficult for you to admit the nobility of the purple gold dragon blood? I never thought that the purple gold dragon blood was so noble. I have never thought that I am superior just because I have the purple gold dragon blood. In my opinion, people who have such thoughts are just deceiving themselves. Don't go too far. Please consider my condition carefully. If you don't want to, we can always hide in the Nether King's hell." Qin Feiyong said lightly. "Do you think it's safe to hide in the Nether King's hell?" The middle-aged man's remnant soul sneered. "Are you trying to scare me? Are you stupid? Or do you think I am stupid? If you have the ability to enter the Nether King's hell, would you wait until now?" Qin Feiyong sneered. "You." The middle-aged man's remnant soul was a little angry from embarrassment. The king of the divine kingdom waved his hand, looked at Qin Feiyong and said, "Well, as you wish, I will give this battlefield to the younger generation of the divine kingdom and the sky cloud realm." Qin Feiyong was overjoyed when he heard this. "However, I also have a condition," the king of the divine kingdom said again. Qin Feiyong was stunned and asked suspiciously, "What condition?" "First, bring me the heads of the Dragon King, Feng Ho, and the Kirin clan. Since you dared to seal my daughter, you have to pay the price. Secondly, you only have 1,000 years. If the younger generation of the Sky Cloud realm can't suppress the geniuses of the Divine Kingdom within 1,000 years, then prepare to face destruction," the king of the Divine Kingdom said. Qin Feiyong frowned. 1,000 years was not enough. However, he could see that this was the limit of the king of the Divine Kingdom. "Okay." After hesitating for a while, Qin Feiyong nodded, looked at the king of the Divine Kingdom, and said, "However, I have another condition. The Dominator divine weapon cannot interfere." This could not be ignored. Otherwise, when the geniuses of the Divine Kingdom arrived with the Dragon God Sword, would there be any chance of winning? There would never be. Since this is a fair competition, it will naturally test everyone's true ability. Therefore, I agree with this point. The king of the Divine Kingdom nodded. "Then it's a deal." Qin Feiyong was overjoyed. No matter what, they had avoided this catastrophe for the time being. Although it was only 1,000 years, it was better than not even a day. "It's a deal." The king of the Divine Kingdom nodded, and his eyes fell on the princess of the Divine Kingdom. After pondering for a long time, he sighed and said, "The human emperor is dead. What's the point of you staying in the Sky Cloud realm? Why don't you come back with me now? As long as you sincerely repent, everyone will still accept you." Hearing this, the princess of the Divine Kingdom's expression stiffened. Qin Feiyong glanced at the princess of the Divine Kingdom and said, "Ancestor, I respect your choice. Who didn't want to return to their homeland? For example, no matter how wonderful the outside world was, Great Qin was always the place he cared about the most in his heart. Therefore, he could understand the princess of the Divine Kingdom's feelings. If the Divine Kingdom really wouldn't make things difficult for the princess of the Divine Kingdom, he would agree with it. The princess of the Divine Kingdom glanced at Qin Feiyong, and then at the king of the Divine Kingdom. After a long time, she shook her head and said, "There are too many things I can't let go of here. I don't want to leave." "How many years have you been in the Sky Cloud realm? If you can't let go of them, Then can you let go of the divine kingdom, your family, your people, and your people? The king of the divine kingdom was furious when he heard this. The princess of the divine kingdom fell into silence again. Finally, she gritted her teeth and said, "If Father can promise me that you will never invade the sky cloud realm again, I will go back with you now." "Are you threatening me?" The king of the divine kingdom raised his eyebrows. "I dare not." The princess of the divine kingdom quickly lowered her head. "Good. Very good." The king of the divine kingdom nodded repeatedly. He looked at Qin Feiyong and said, "Within 3 days, I want to see the heads of Dragon King and the others. Also, although I love my daughter very much, I will never allow any human to taint the power of my purple gold divine dragon bloodline." "Do you want me to destroy the power of my bloodline?" Qin Feiyong raised his eyebrows. "If you can destroy the power of your bloodline, that would be for the best so that I won't have to do it myself. But if you don't want to, then I'm afraid you will have to bear very serious consequences in the end. Do as you see fit." After the king of the divine kingdom finished speaking, his consciousness dissipated directly. "Count yourselves lucky this time." The dragon god sword snorted coldly and immediately took the remnant souls of the middle-aged man in golden armor, and the others away at lightning speed. Whoosh! Seeing the dragon god sword disappear at the end of the sea, the princess of the divine kingdom and Qin Feiyong looked at each other, and were completely relieved. Chapter 3883. The Black Tortoise Realm. Qin Feiyong took off his mask, and his blood-red hair and eyes returned to normal. The Feather Emperor said worriedly, "Feiyong, are you confident in 1,000 years?" Before Qin Feiyong left, he left a recording of what happened outside, so the Feather Emperor, Little Rabbit, Blood Ancestor, and Long Chun were all in the Black Tortoise Realm and witnessed the whole process. "I haven't even seen a single genius of the Divine Kingdom. How can I be confident?" Qin Feiyong smiled bitterly. This was just a delaying tactic. He would delay as long as he could. Hearing this, the Feather Emperor, Little Rabbit, and Blood Ancestor looked at each other and then at Long Chun. "Why are you looking at me?" Long Chun was suspicious. Blood Ancestor laughed. "You have the strongest backing here. At the critical moment, of course, we have to count on you." Long Chun was speechless. "It's not like you don't know my situation. Count on me? I still want to follow you. If Ice Dragon wants to help, we don't need to find him. He will do it, but if he doesn't want to, it's useless even if we kneel and beg him. So we shouldn't have too much hope for him. 1,000 years is neither long nor short. You don't have to be too nervous. The problem we have to solve now is Dragon King and the other two." Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed with a cold light. He was certainly willing to kill Dragon King and the other two, but after all, the Feather Emperor and other seniors were present. Naturally, he had to ask for their permission first. Dragon King and the other two deserved to die. Now that we can contribute to the Sky Cloud realm, it can be considered as accumulating some merit for the next generation in advance. Blood Ancestor sneered. "I don't have any objections. Besides, we have no choice now." Feather Emperor shook his head. The reason why he hadn't killed Dragon King and the other two was that he thought that when facing the Divine Kingdom in the future, one more person would be one more force. But now, the Lord of the Divine Nation had specifically asked for their heads. What else could they do? For the Sky Cloud realm, they could only be sacrificed. Seeing that the Feather Emperor and the Blood Ancestor had no objections, Qin Feiyong looked at Long Chun. "Whatever." Long Chun shrugged. "Truth?" Qin Feiyong asked. "What do you think?" Long Chun asked. "All right. Let's go to hell right now and take their lives." Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed with killing intent. "Let's not do it in the Underworld King's hell. If they become desperate and harm the creatures of the Underworld King's hell, I'll have to trouble myself to bring them to the Sky Cloud realm." Long Chun shook his head. Qin Feiyong looked at Long Chun, his eyes flickering. "What is it? Are you still worried about me?" Long Chun asked with a smile. "No. However, I'm worried that you won't be able to intimidate them if you go alone. Therefore, I think it's better for the old ancestor to accompany you." Qin Feiyong smiled. "As long as you're happy." Long Chun smiled faintly. With the Heavenly God Sword, how could he not intimidate the Dragon King trio? This guy had an ulterior motive. Qin Feiyong transmitted his voice to the blood ancestor. Old ancestor, keep an eye on him. Don't let him play any tricks. The blood ancestor secretly responded. Qin Feiyong waved his hand and sent the two out. Are you guarding against Long Chen? Feather Emperor asked. I have to be wary of him. Qin Feiyong sighed. This was a reliable teammate, but at the same time he was also a frightening opponent. The little rabbit asked, then, should we continue to let everyone stay in the Underworld King's Hell? Staying in the Underworld King's Hell is indeed safer, but because of the restrictions of the rules, it's difficult for everyone to improve their cultivation. Feather Emperor shook his head. Then, the little rabbit scanned the Black Tortoise realm. Big brother, don't have any ideas about the Black Tortoise realm? This place can't be compared to the Sky Cloud realm. It can't hold so many creatures. Qin Feiyong hurriedly shook his head. If they squeezed, it was still possible. However, he really didn't want to destroy the peace of the Black Tortoise realm. Because once the creatures of the Sky Cloud realm entered the Black Tortoise realm, they would inevitably fall into chaos. But we can't let them stay in the Underworld King's Hell forever. The little rabbit frowned. Indeed we can't. Why don't we let them return to the Sky Cloud realm? In any case, haven't we already fought for 1,000 years of peace for them? Qin Feiyong said. A mere 1,000 years will pass in the blink of an eye. Feather Emperor shook his head and sighed. Everyone needs to grow. We can't always protect them. What's the difference between that and a flower in a greenhouse? Moreover, to contend against the Divine Kingdom, we alone are far from enough. We need the entire Sky Cloud realm to work together. In short, no one can stay out of it. Qin Feiyong said. That's fine too. Let everyone return. Everything will return to its original state. Perhaps there will be a turn for the better in less than 1,000 years? The Feather Emperor smiled. If there really is a turn for the better, that would naturally be the best. Qin Feiyong said with a smile. Then, he looked up at the sky and shouted, Little brat, let the God-slaying tablet come out and undergo the tribulation. Clang! Accompanied by a loud sound, the God-slaying tablet fell from the sky. A vast divine aura instantly enveloped the devil's land. At the same time, tribulation clouds were rolling in the sky. Wait a moment. Don't undergo the tribulation here. Qin Feiyong's expression changed. He immediately took the God-slaying tablet, the little rabbit, and the Feather Emperor and left the Black Tortoise realm. Don't undergo the tribulation in the heavenly cloud sea. The little rabbit roared. Then where should we go? Qin Feiyong asked. Go to the land of the buried gods. Anyway, that place has already been destroyed. The little rabbit waved its paw and opened a space-time tunnel. The three of them immediately took the God-slaying tablet and descended in the sky above the core area of the land of the buried gods. The gate to the Divine Kingdom was at the peak of the sky. The little rabbit rolled its eyes and said with a sneaky smile, Do you think we can borrow the power of the God-slaying tablet's tribulation to destroy the gate to the Divine Kingdom? Qin Feiyong and the Feather Emperor looked at each other. It might work. Qin Feiyong's eyes flashed and he said with a smile, The God-slaying tablet should be here. How troublesome. The God-slaying tablet spoke. Its voice sounded a little childish, like an 8 or 9-year-old child. You think it's troublesome? Whose tribulation is this? Qin Feiyong's face darkened. The God-slaying tablet said angrily, Kid, don't be arrogant. Be careful. When this sovereign undergoes the tribulation, you will be the first to be suppressed. Qin Feiyong was stunned. Although the God-slaying tablet had been in the Black Tortoise realm for a long time, this was his first time interacting with it. This first impression was not good. Fine. Consider me a busybody. If you can, don't ask us for help later. Old ancestor, big brother, let's retreat. Qin Feiyong snorted coldly. Then, he left with the Feather Emperor and Little Rabbit without even looking back. Don't go. Why are you so stingy? The God-slaying tablet hurriedly shouted. Don't go? Stay here and wait for death? You're on your own. Qin Feiyong said without looking back. You have no loyalty. The God-slaying tablet scolded. Rumble. Crack. In the sky, blood clouds rolled in and instantly covered the entire sky above the core area. Clang. However, at the same time, The gate to the divine kingdom, which was floating at the peak of the sky, instantly descended in the sky above the central region. This? Qin Feiyang, the Feather Emperor, and the little rabbit looked at this scene in shock. They originally wanted to use the power of the tribulation to destroy the gate to the divine kingdom. However, they did not expect the gate to be so cunning and run faster than them. Chapter 3 release at 10 a.m. Chapter 3884. However, it could be seen from this point. The sovereign weapon's heavenly tribulation could indeed threaten the door of the divine kingdom. Otherwise, why would it run? Boom! As the first heavenly tribulation descended, the entire land of buried gods was shrouded in a terrifying heavenly might. Qin Feiyang, Feather Emperor, and Little Rabbit stood in the sky above the inner region. Feeling the terrifying heavenly might, they decisively opened the portal again and appeared in the sky above the central region. They were quite knowledgeable, especially Qin Feiyang. He had undergone more than one or two heavenly tribulations. When he was in the Chaos Royal City, he saw the undead tribulations every day. But this time, the God-slaying tablet's heavenly tribulation was more terrifying than any he had seen before. Even the undead tribulations couldn't be compared to this heavenly tribulation. Even though he was in the central region, he could feel a fatal danger. Crack! When the first heavenly tribulation descended, the God-slaying tablet shattered. So cruel! The God-slaying tablet panicked. It knew that the sovereign weapon's heavenly tribulation was terrifying, but it didn't expect it to be this terrifying. This was only the first heavenly tribulation. After that, there were a total of 98 heavenly tribulations. How could it succeed? Brother Qin, Boss Qin, Qin Dage, Uncle Qin, don't leave me to die. Come and help. The God-slaying tablet couldn't help but roar hysterically due to the fear in its heart. Ancestor Big Brother, what should we do? Qin Feiyang looked at Feather Emperor and Little Rabbit. Needless to say, these sovereign weapons in the castle couldn't help at all. Moreover, his sovereign weapons, Fire Dance's sovereign weapons, and the land of buried gods' sovereign weapons had all been damaged when they fought with the divine dragon sword. Although the sovereign weapons in the hands of the beast emperors were still intact, they were far from enough. The only thing we can do now is use your 3,000 incarnations and the Eye of Heaven to help it. Feather Emperor said in a low voice. Then we have to enter the central region. Qin Feiyang frowned. Yes. There's no other way. I'm afraid that even Long Chen's heavenly godsword won't be able to block all of the heavenly tribulations. Furthermore, Long Chen isn't here right now. Even if he were, he wouldn't be obligated to help the God-slaying tablet overcome its tribulation. Feather Emperor shook his head. Then let's do it. Qin Feiyang gritted his teeth. It hadn't been easy for him to nurture a sovereign weapon. He couldn't allow it to be destroyed by the heavenly tribulation. Crack! While they were talking, the second heavenly tribulation descended. The God-slaying tablet shattered into pieces. The little rabbit opened a space-time tunnel. While the third heavenly tribulation was brewing, it descended into the core region. I knew you were the best. The God-slaying tablet immediately shouted. Stop flattering me. Qin Feiyang glared at it and decisively brought the Feather Emperor and the little rabbit into the ancient castle. They appeared in the sky above the blood sea of the western regions. His long hair and eyes instantly turned blood-red, and a blood-red mask condensed once again, which he wore on his face. The gate of the divine kingdom was still watching from above. Therefore, he still had to use the identity of Qin Shaotian to help. As for coming to the blood sea of the western regions, of course it was to prevent innocent creatures from being hurt when replicating the ultimate profound meaning. After all, the ultimate profound meaning wasn't a joke. If it was in the land of the devils, the aura emitted by replicating thousands of ultimate profound meanings would be enough to raise the land of the devils to the ground. Big Brother, activate your ultimate profound meaning. Then, Qin Feiyang looked at the little rabbit and chuckled. Don't you have it yourself? The little rabbit looked at him. No. Qin Feiyang shook his head. Who are you kidding? Since returning from the Sky Bell Divine Treasure, you haven't been willing to show your strength. What do you mean? The little rabbit raised its eyebrows. Nothing. Hurry up. The third heavenly tribulation is about to descend. It's too late to wait. Qin Feiyang urged. The little rabbit rolled its eyes at him and immediately activated two ultimate profound meanings. They were the space-time laws and the time laws. That's it? Qin Feiyong was stunned. The blood ancestor once said that when the little rabbit was in the sky bell divine treasure, it had obtained the inheritance of two ultimate laws. In addition, after so many years, it was impossible for this guy to only have two ultimate profound meanings. Yes, that's it. What's the matter? The little rabbit snorted. Nothing. Qin Feiyong smiled embarrassedly. Needless to say, this little rabbit must be holding back. He activated 3,000 clones and began to replicate. In the blink of an eye. Outside. The third heavenly tribulation descended. Heartless bastard, just you wait. I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. Seeing that Qin Feiyong didn't appear for a long time, the god-slaying tablet thought that he had abandoned it and immediately cursed. Really? If you say so, then I'll really leave. With a cold snort, Qin Feiyong appeared with 3,000 clones. Don't. I'm talking about Feather Emperor and the others, not you. The god-slaying tablet smiled flatteringly. Qin Feiyong rolled his eyes and transmitted his voice. Call me Qin Feiyong now, don't call me Qin Feiyong. Okay. The god-slaying tablet said to itself. Qin Feiyong looked up at the heavenly tribulation with a serious expression. The 3,000 clones leaped up and crossed the sky above the god-slaying tablet. Then 6,000 ultimate profound meanings soared into the sky and formed a huge shield wall that separated heaven and earth. Boom! The heavenly tribulation bombarded. The three ultimate profound meanings were instantly shattered. But the heavenly tribulation was successfully blocked. However, the power was indeed shocking. The power of one heavenly tribulation actually shattered three ultimate profound meanings. One had to know. Each ultimate profound meaning was comparable to a sovereign divine weapon. It was really fortunate that he didn't ask the sovereign divine weapon to help. Otherwise, the sovereign divine weapon would have been fatally injured. Fortunately, he had replicated 6,000 ultimate profound meanings. The number was large enough to block all the heavenly tribulations. Boom! At this moment, in the central region at the gate of the divine kingdom, a middle-aged man walked out. He was about 30 years old and about 1.8 meters tall. He wore a purple gold robe. His eyebrows were like swords and his aura was monstrous. Heavenly tribulation? As soon as this person appeared, he looked at the sky of the core region and frowned slightly. Immediately after, he waved his hand and a space-time tunnel appeared. Before entering the space-time tunnel, he glanced at the mountains and rivers below and muttered, "Blood Demon King, I'm here again. Unfortunately, you're already dead. This time, I'd like to see who else can stop me." The core region. Qin Feiyong was paying attention to the 3,000 clones. But suddenly, he felt something and turned to look at the sky above the core region. He saw a space-time tunnel appear. Was it Long Chan? The next moment, when the man from the divine kingdom walked out, Qin Feiyong's pupils suddenly shrank. It's him. Black Tortoise World. Feather Emperor and Little Rabbit were also paying attention to the situation outside through the image in the void. When they saw the man from the divine kingdom appear in the image, their eyes suddenly trembled. A strong killing intent emerged uncontrollably. Feiyong. It was him who led the divine kingdom's army to invade the Nether King's hell. The Blood Demon King died in his hands. Feather Emperor transmitted. What? Qin Feiyong's body trembled. As expected, there are 3,000 clones. The man from the divine kingdom looked at the 3,000 clones and murmured. His eyes fell on Qin Feiyong and asked, "You're Qin Xiaotian? You're the one who invaded the Nether King's hell back then?" Qin Feiyong asked. "Yes, it's me." The man from the divine kingdom didn't hide it at all and sneered. "I wonder if there are any blood demons alive now." Qin Feiyong clenched his hands and said in a deep voice, "You'll pay the price?" "Price? What's that?" "I really don't know. But I heard that you're very strong, and you're the son of the princess and the human emperor. Let me have a taste of your strength." The man from the divine kingdom waved his hand. The space-time law roared out, and a river of stars suddenly descended from the sky. "You've already found out about me so quickly. It seems that you're quite concerned about me. However, the Lord of the Divine Kingdom has already promised me that the older generation can't fight. Are you going to defy the order of the Lord of the Divine Kingdom?" Qin Feiyang said. It's just a spar. Why? Now that your 3,000 clones are restrained by the heavenly tribulation, you don't even have the courage to spar with me? The man from the divine kingdom sneered. Feiyang, let me out. This bastard. I've long wanted to kill him to avenge the blood demons. Feather Emperor transmitted. Do you need to deal with such a small character? Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Don't underestimate him. Besides, this is a feud between the older generation. Why are you, a young man, interfering? Just focus on helping the God-slaying tablet transcend the heavenly tribulation. Feather Emperor was displeased. Fine. Qin Feiyang was helpless. With a thought, Feather Emperor and Little Rabbit came out. When enemies met, their eyes blazed with hatred. Not only Feather Emperor and Little Rabbit, but when the man from the divine kingdom saw Feather Emperor and Little Rabbit appear, his eyes were filled with killing intent. He sneered and said, "You two old farts are really lucky. Aren't you the same?" After saying that, Feather Emperor took a step into the sky. A shocking force of death immediately surged out. The ultimate profound 18 layers of hell appeared in an instant. Not bad. I remember that back then, you only mastered the ultimate profound of the law of nothingness. Killing intent flashed in the eyes of the man from the divine kingdom. The river of stars fell, and everything was destroyed. Accompanied by a loud noise, the two ultimate profound collided violently. At this moment, the man from the divine kingdom and Feather Emperor attacked each other at the same time. Although they said it was a spar, each of their attacks was fatal. Below, Qin Feiyang was stunned. He looked at Little Rabbit and asked, "Ancestor, have you mastered the ultimate profound of the law of nothingness?" "Yes. The ultimate profound of the law of sword and the law of death were comprehended by him in recent years." Little Rabbit nodded. Qin Feiyang suddenly understood. As expected, not only the Dragon King but also Feng Ho, the Qilin Master, and everyone else were growing. However, what about the human sovereign? Blood Ancestor and Feather Emperor had both returned. The Blood Demon Lord might also be reincarnated. Although the crazy man knew now, he didn't tell Qin Feiyang. So Qin Feiyang wasn't sure whether the crazy man was the reincarnation of the Blood Demon Lord or not. Everyone returned one after another. Did the human sovereign really die? Chapter 3885. Hundreds of breaths passed. More than half of the God-slaying tablet's tribulation had passed. No matter what kind of tribulation it was, they all had one thing in common. Each one was stronger than the last. Now one tribulation was enough to shatter dozens of ultimate mysteries. This was equivalent to dozens of sovereign weapons. From this one could see, if not for the 3,000 incarnations and the Eye of Heaven, even with the help of hundreds of sovereign weapons, the God-slaying tablet wouldn't be able to pass the tribulation. No wonder there were so few sovereign weapons in the Sky Cloud realm. Without anyone's help, only a miracle would allow one to survive such a heavenly tribulation. Did the castle pass a tribulation back then? Suddenly, Little Rabbit looked at Qin Feiyang and asked. No. Qin Feiyang shook his head. After the castle merged with the Black Tortoise realm, it evolved into a sovereign weapon as the Black Tortoise realm grew. It seems that I don't have to worry about the castle in the future. Little Rabbit muttered. Yes. Qin Feiyang nodded. The castle was different from other sovereign weapons. Other sovereign weapons needed to absorb the world's origin energy to grow, and the growth was quite slow. But the castle was different. As the Black Tortoise realm grew, the castle would grow with it. The two complemented each other. It was a good thing that there was no tribulation. After all, now that the God-slaying tablet's tribulation was so terrifying, it would be even more terrifying when it evolved into a mid-level or even a high-level sovereign weapon. However, as the Black Tortoise realm grew bigger, its growth seemed to be slower and slower. It seemed that he had to collect more crystal veins and spirit veins to accelerate the growth of the Black Tortoise realm. This way, the castle could evolve into a mid-level sovereign weapon faster. At that time, the castle, the flame magic sword, two mid-level sovereign weapons, facing the Divine Kingdom's experts, he had more confidence. On the other side, the Feather Emperor and the man from the Divine Kingdom had already killed their way out of the core area and entered the inner area. Everywhere they went, the sky fell and the earth cracked. Dust and smoke billowed. It was like the end of the world. Both of them were bleeding profusely. But their injuries didn't seem to be important to them at all. There was only killing intent in their eyes. Eastern continent. Outside the entrance of the land of the buried gods. 5 figures stood against the wind, looking at the inner area and the core area. It was Long Chan, the Blood Ancestor, and the Dragon King. This aura. The Blood Ancestor stared at the inner region and clenched his fists tightly. What is it? Long Chan was suspicious. It's him. The Blood Ancestor's eyes were filled with hatred. Him. Long Chan frowned. The Dragon King said, back then, it was this person who led the Divine Kingdom to invade the lower realm, causing the people of the underworld to be plunged into misery and suffering. I see. Long Chan nodded and looked at the Blood Ancestor. Seems that you really want to kill him? Of course. The killing intent in the Blood Ancestor's eyes was undisguised. Long Chan smiled and said, then why don't you help the Feather Emperor kill him? The Blood Ancestor was taken aback and turned to look at Long Chan. His eyes flashed as if he wanted to see through Long Chan. However, he discovered that the young man before him was as unfathomable as the ocean. Don't worry. I won't play any tricks. Long Chan smiled faintly. The Blood Ancestor secretly sneered. Who knew if he would play any tricks? In any case, this ancestor will keep an eye on you at all times. As for the Dragon King and the other two, they still didn't know what was going on. They also didn't know the conditions offered by the Lord of the Divine Kingdom. Because when Long Chan and the Blood Ancestor went back to find them, they only said that they had something to discuss in the Sky Cloud realm. Sigh. Long Chan sighed helplessly, opened a teleportation channel, and led them to the core region. They're here. Qin Feiyong sensed their auras and turned his head to look. Yes. Long Chan nodded with a smile and rushed to Qin Feiyong's side. He looked up at the heavenly tribulation and said in surprise, what a terrifying heavenly tribulation. Qin Feiyong glanced at Long Chan and said, Ancestor, is there anything wrong with Long Chan? No. Keep an eye on him. The Blood Ancestor thought. That's good. Qin Feiyong breathed a sigh of relief. He was afraid that Long Chan would secretly do something to help the Dragon King and the other two. Looking at Feng Ho and the other two. As soon as they arrived here, they looked at Qin Feiyong suspiciously. Who was this person? Because Qin Feiyong was wearing a mask and changed his aura, they didn't recognize him for a while. Qin Feiyong noticed their eyes, turned to look at them and took off his mask. It's you. Feng Ho's eyes suddenly flashed with hatred. Yes. Qin Feiyong nodded. He was wearing a mask again, but there was a trace of goodwill in the eyes of the Kirin Master and the Dragon King. This made Qin Feiyong quite surprised. One had to know. When they just returned from the Skybell Divine Treasure, the two hated him to the bone. However, whether it was goodwill or malice, it didn't matter now. For public or private reasons, the three of them must die. Boom! Another 100 breaths passed. The last heavenly tribulation descended. Not to mention the land of buried gods. Even the eastern and northern continents outside were shrouded by the terrifying heavenly might. Qin Feiyong and the others stood below and couldn't help but feel a chill in their hearts. If it weren't for the 3,000 incarnations standing in the sky blocking the heavenly might, just the aura at this moment was enough to seriously injure all of them. Should we retreat? Long Chan frowned. Qin Feiyong was silent, staring at the 3,000 incarnations. There were still more than 4,000 ultimate mysteries left. Although the power of the last heavenly tribulation was the sum of the previous 98 heavenly tribulations, more than 4,000 ultimate mysteries shouldn't be a problem to block this heavenly tribulation. Dragon King and the other two looked at this scene and were extremely shocked. Was this the complete Eye of Heaven? It could even replicate the ultimate mysteries of the strongest law? With these 3,000 incarnations and the Eye of Heaven, who in the Sky Cloud realm could be Qin Feiyong's opponent? Dragon King had indeed planned to reconcile with Qin Feiyong in his heart. After all now, Qin Feiyong had already expressed his position, and would always stand together with the Sky Cloud realm. Moreover, the Feather Emperor and the Blood Ancestor had returned one after another, and the Princess of the Divine Kingdom had also escaped. Qin Feiyong's backer had become even more powerful. Continuing to fight wouldn't benefit the dragons at all. But now, looking at the heaven-defying ability of the Eye of Heaven, Dragon King couldn't help but feel resentment in his heart. Because the other half of the Eye of Heaven belonged to the Crown Prince of the Dragons. If the Crown Prince of the Dragons had defeated Qin Feiyong back then and obtained Qin Feiyong's Eye of Heaven, then the dragons would be the ones rising now. Although the Crown Prince of the Dragons didn't have 3,000 incarnations, with the heaven-defying Eye of Heaven, he could still look down on the entire sky cloud realm. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the heavenly tribulation fell. The 3,000 incarnations smiled coldly, and more than 4,000 ultimate mysteries, carrying the power to destroy the heavens and earth, rushed into the sky. Accompanied by an earth-shaking loud noise, the last heavenly tribulation was crushed as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Then, more than 4,000 ultimate mysteries rushed into the sky. Suddenly a big hole appeared in the sky. It could be said to be shocking as it directly pierced through the sky. Feng Ho and the other two trembled. Their faces, which were shrouded in divine light, were pale. This was Qin Feiyong's current strength? Terrifying. It was simply unparalleled. Haha, the God-slaying tablet laughed. Finally, it succeeded in transcending the tribulation. A golden cloud surged and bestowed blessings. The broken body of the God-slaying tablet was not only quickly repaired, but its aura also soared to the level of a sovereign divine weapon in an instant. A sovereign divine weapon was born. A smile also appeared on Qin Feiyong's face. Although there were many sovereign divine weapons around him now, a sovereign divine weapon that he had personally nurtured felt different. It was like his own child. However, this child in front of him seemed to be a little rebellious. God-slaying tablet, come to me. Feng Ho came back to her senses and stared at the God-slaying tablet. Qin Feiyong turned to look at Feng Ho. Did this woman not know the situation she was in now? She was still thinking about the God-slaying tablet. They still don't know that we are going to kill them, the blood ancestor secretly explained. No wonder. Qin Feiyong mumbled. Feng Ho. The God-slaying tablet of course recognized Feng Ho, because back then it was in the Feng people. Furthermore, he was rather fearful of the Phoenix Empress. Even now, Feng Ho was a terrifying existence in its eyes, let alone back then. After all, Feng Ho had mastered 3 ultimate mysteries and was far more powerful than it. Hey, don't forget who helped you transcend the tribulation. Qin Feiyong's face darkened. I know. The God-slaying tablet snorted impatiently and said indifferently, Feng Ho, I'm sorry, but I prefer to stay by that girl's side. The so-called girl was naturally referring to Huo Wu. It had always been in the land of origin, and didn't know about the feud between Huo Wu and Feng Ho. However, not long ago, when it came out of the land of origin, it sensed Huo Wu's aura in the devil's land. As a sovereign divine weapon, was it stupid? Of course not. If Huo Wu was in the Black Tortoise realm, then there must be something fishy. Feng Ho was full of hostility when she heard this. Don't look like you want to eat me. I am a sovereign divine weapon now. The God-slaying tablet snorted. A smile appeared on Qin Feiyong's face. He turned to Feng Ho and shook his head. I am really convinced that you are still in the mood to think about the God-slaying tablet. What do you mean? Feng Ho raised her eyebrows. The Dragon King and the Qilin Master looked at each other, and an ominous premonition arose in their hearts. At the same time, the rabbit, the blood ancestor, and Long Chun walked over to the 3 of them. Along with Qin Feiyong, they surrounded the 3 of them. The 3's hearts trembled. Sorry. I didn't want to kill you for the time being. But there's no other way. The Lord of the Divine Kingdom wants your heads. Qin Feiyong smiled faintly. The Lord of the Divine Kingdom? You have already met the Lord of the Divine Kingdom? The 3 were shocked. That's right. We have agreed on the terms. From now on, the older generation of the Divine Kingdom and the Sky Cloud Realm will not interfere in this war. But the condition is that we need your heads. Qin Feiyong smiled. Bastard. The 3 were furious. Don't blame us. If you want to blame someone, blame yourselves. If you hadn't sealed the princess of the Divine Kingdom back then, the Lord of the Divine Kingdom wouldn't be so angry. So you only have yourselves to blame. In short, you will die sooner or later anyway. Why don't you make some contributions to the Sky Cloud Realm now? Kill yourself lest we have to do it. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Long Chen. The Dragon King looked at Long Chen. Don't look at me. It is indeed the request of the Lord of the Divine Kingdom. I can't do anything about it. Long Chen shrugged. I refuse to accept it. Dragon King roared furiously. He stared at Qin Feiyang and said, Don't forget. The reason why your Eye of Heaven could evolve is because of our dragon race's crown prince's Eye of Heaven. Chapter 3886. What's the point of bringing up old grudges now? We'll talk about it later. Are you the ones who gave me the Eye of Heaven? No. This is what I won from the first prince after defeating him fair and square. Qin Feiyang shook his head. What about me? I've been taking care of the Fire Qilin and the others for you all these years. That can be considered a favor, right? Said Master Qilin solemnly. I won't deny that. I'm also very grateful to you for that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have spared the Divine Qilin sword in the Sky Bell Divine Treasury. You should know that if I want to, Qi Xiaoyun and the White Jade Qilin won't be able to stop me. Therefore, I've already repaid the favor. Qin Feiyang said indifferently. Master Qilin sank into silence. Feng Ho said solemnly, in any case you want to kill us, right? Yes. Back then, you ambushed the Mortal Emperor, the Feather Emperor, and the Blood Ancestor to seal the Princess of the Divine Kingdom. Now you're plotting to kill me. You're destined to die. Of course. You won't die in vain. First of all, your deaths will bring 1,000 years of peace to the Skycloud realm. This is a great contribution. Secondly, death is like an extinguished lamp. In the future, the grudges between me and the three races will be written off. In other words, I won't target the three races anymore. But there's a condition. They won't take the initiative to cause trouble. Qin Feiyang said. Then shouldn't we be grateful to you? The three's eyes turned cold. No. I should be the one thanking you. Thank you for all the sacrifices you've made for the Skycloud realm. Although you are selfish, your contributions cannot be erased. Please go on your way. At that time we will give you a proper burial. After saying that, Qin Feiyang looked at the three in silence. Haha. I really didn't expect that after sacrificing so much for the Skycloud realm, we would end up like this. Qin Feiyang, you are really ruthless. Dragon King laughed bitterly and suddenly soared into the sky. His aura surged out as he stared at Qin Feiyang and said, You want me to submit obediently? Never. Feng Ho and the Qilin Master looked at each other and rose into the air. They stood beside the Dragon King and said in a low voice, Come and fight with us. Let us see how strong you are now. Sigh. Qin Feiyang sighed. There's no need for such trouble. Sky God's sword you go. Long Chen waved his hand. Clang. Accompanied by a loud noise, the heavenly god's sword appeared and shot towards the three of them like lightning. Long Chen, do you still have a conscience? I've taken care of you, your mother, and your sister all these years. Is this how you repay me? I won't let you go even if I become a ghost. Dragon King was furious, his face full of resentment. The three ultimate mysteries were activated. Feng Ho and the Qilin Master's faces were also full of madness, and the power of law roared out. Become a ghost? You don't even have the chance to become a ghost. The heavenly god sword snorted coldly, and its sharp edge swept in all directions, crushing the three of them. Hum! Roar! Chirp! The three of them returned to their original forms and struggled madly, but it was meaningless in the face of the heavenly god's sword. Their physical bodies were instantly shattered, and blood splattered across the sky. Only their heads were left. Whoosh! Following closely, three terrifying sword chi entered the heads of the three of them. With a shrill scream, their divine souls were annihilated on the spot. The remaining head was also dripping with blood. With a bang, it fell in front of Qin Feiyang and the others. Qin Feiyang released his divine thought and shrouded the heads of the three, and found that their divine souls were indeed shattered. He turned to Long Chen and frowned. You're quite proactive. Isn't this saving you the trouble of exposing your identity? Long Chen smiled. The heavenly god sword swept over and disappeared into his body. Qin Feiyang took a deep look at Long Chen. He also wanted to see something from Long Chen's expression, But just like the blood ancestor, he didn't find anything at all. He was indeed a difficult character to deal with. However, in any case, the death of the Dragon King and the other two was already in front of him. Speaking of which, it was really sad. The three lords of the forbidden areas were killed in seconds just like that? No one would have thought of this. Let's go. Qin Feiyong waved his hand, rolled up the heads of the Dragon King and the other two, and rushed toward the inner area. The inner area. The Feather Emperor and the man from the Divine Kingdom fought fiercely. Thus it could be seen that the strength of the man from the Divine Kingdom was no longer what it used to be. When Qin Feiyong and the others arrived at the battlefield, the man from the Divine Kingdom immediately raised his eyebrows and retreated like lightning. It's not over yet. The Feather Emperor snorted coldly, like a god of war, and his aura was like a rainbow. Feather Emperor, stop. Qin Feiyong spoke. His words were filled with an extremely imposing aura. The Feather Emperor stopped in the void, turned his head and looked at Qin Feiyong unhappily. How dare he call his name directly? Impudent. However, when he saw the huge heads of the Dragon King and the other two, the Feather Emperor's face faintly showed a trace of relief. Qin Feiyong took the three heads and walked to the side of the Feather Emperor. He looked at the man from the Divine Kingdom opposite him and said indifferently, "These are the heads of the Dragon King and the other two. Take them back and give them to the Lord of the Divine Kingdom." After saying that, he threw the heads of the three over. He really killed them? The man from the Divine Kingdom was stunned. He looked at the three heads for a moment and said to Qin Feiyong, "Ruthless indeed. But are these really their heads? Although they are dead, their aura is still there. Can't you tell?" Qin Feiyong's eyes were cold. The man from the Divine Kingdom looked at the heads of the three again. Back then, he had fought with the Dragon King and the other two. Judging from the aura, it was indeed the Dragon King and the other two. However, he looked at Qin Feiyong again and said, "How do I know that you didn't keep their souls? Are you deliberately looking for trouble?" The eyes of the blood ancestor and the little rabbit turned cold, and a terrifying aura spread out. Haha, the man from the Divine Kingdom laughed and rushed toward the door of the Divine Kingdom with the three heads. But suddenly, he stopped, looked down at Qin Feiyong and asked curiously, "Qin Feiyong, I'm really curious. Are you the son of the human emperor and the princess, or their descendant? Is there a difference?" Qin Feiyong replied indifferently, "Of course there is a difference. If you are a son, you are the flesh and blood of the princess. But if you are a descendant, at most you will have the bloodline power of the purple gold divine dragon." The man from the Divine Kingdom sneered. Get lost. Qin Feiyong really didn't want to talk nonsense with this person. You have a personality. Get ready. The younger generation of the Divine Kingdom will soon arrive. At that time you will realize that even if the older generation of the Divine Kingdom doesn't make a move, the Sky Cloud realm has no chance of winning. Ants, they are just ants in the end. The man from the Divine Kingdom laughed wildly and left with the heads of the Dragon King and the other two without looking back. When the man from the Divine Kingdom entered the gate of the Divine Kingdom, the gate of the Divine Kingdom reappeared in the sky above the core area. He is too arrogant. Fortunately, you stopped me. Otherwise, I would have killed him directly. The God-slaying tablet clamored. Qin Feiyong and the others were stunned. They turned to look at the God-slaying tablet and asked suspiciously, "When did we stop you? You are so domineering. Why don't you just kill your way to the Divine Kingdom? We will cheer for you from behind." Ha! The God-slaying tablet laughed dryly. It was just showing off. Why did it have to be so serious? This guy is a little unreliable. Long Chun pulled Qin Feiyong's sleeve and whispered, "What do you mean by a little unreliable? He is very unreliable." Qin Feiyong rolled his eyes at the God-slaying tablet and looked at the gate of the Divine Kingdom. His eyebrows gradually knitted together. Long Chun looked at the gate of the Divine Kingdom and sized up Qin Feiyong. He said in surprise, "You don't really want to kill your way into the Divine Kingdom, do you?" The blood ancestor, the Feather Emperor, and the little rabbit immediately looked at Qin Feiyong. "I do want to, but I don't have the courage." Qin Feiyong shook his head and smiled bitterly. "At least you have some self-awareness." Long Chun smiled and asked, "Then what should we do next?" "What do you think?" Qin Feiyong asked. Longchan glanced at the land of buried gods and pondered for a while. Then he said, "Since the gate of the divine kingdom is here, I suggest that we make the land of buried gods the battlefield between us and the divine kingdom." "I agree. So that we won't destroy other places." The Feather Emperor nodded. "But the younger generation of the divine kingdom might not do as we wish. I'm afraid that all places in the Skycloud realm will fall into chaos." The Blood Ancestor was worried. "Then we will have to step in." The Feather Emperor's eyes flashed coldly. He looked at the Blood Ancestor and said, "From now on, we will guard the exits of the eastern and northern continents and do our best to stop them from entering the land of buried gods." "But didn't we agree that the older generation can't make a move?" The Blood Ancestor frowned. "We won't make a move. We will just stop them." The Feather Emperor said, "Then what if they insist on leaving the land of buried gods and entering the 4 continents?" The Blood Ancestor asked. "At that time, they would have no choice but to make a move unless they didn't care about the safety of the 4 continents. You don't have to worry so much. At that time, if they really dare to harm the creatures of the 4 continents, the younger generation of the Skycloud realm won't be pushovers." Longchan waved his hand. He seemed very relaxed. The Feather Emperor and the Blood Ancestor looked at Longchan and couldn't help but feel bitter. It seemed that they were really old. They didn't even have this bit of confidence and aggressiveness anymore. "All right. The next 1,000 years will be handed over to you youngsters. We old guys can also take this opportunity to rest." The Feather Emperor smiled. The Blood Ancestor also exhaled and said, "Then let's go back to the Nether King's hell and bring everyone back." "Okay." The Feather Emperor nodded and looked at Longchan. Although he also had the badge and could ignore the rules of the Nether King's hell, he didn't want to expose it too early. Longchan took out the badge and waved his hand. A space-time tunnel opened and a group of people entered one after another and disappeared. The Nether King's hell. People from various forces were gathered in the void at this moment. Before Longchan and the Blood Ancestor left, they said that everyone would be able to return to the Skycloud realm soon. Therefore, they weren't in the mood to cultivate and were anxiously waiting. Therefore, when Qin Feiyang and the others returned, everyone's faces were filled with anticipation. Chapter 3887. "Brother Qin, how is it?" Python had been waiting for Qin Feiyang. Seeing Qin Feiyang appear, he immediately welcomed him with a face full of concern. "It's fine for the time being." Qin Feiyang smiled slightly. "That's good." Python heaved a sigh of relief. Someone asked, "Can we return to Sky Cloud Boundary now?" "Yes." Qin Feiyang nodded. "Great. This kind of life away from home is too painful." Everyone couldn't help but cheer. Even the people of the 3 races had a smile on their faces. "Where's Lord Dragon King?" Suddenly, a reclusive old antique of the dragons asked. "Yes. I didn't see Lord Feng Ho and the Qilin Master." The people from the Phoenix clan and the Qilin clan also had suspicious looks on their faces. Qin Feiyang glanced at the people of the 3 races, looked at Longchan, Feather Emperor and the others and said, "You guys make the arrangements. I'll go visit a few old friends." "All right." Feather Emperor nodded. Qin Feiyang turned to look at Python and smiled. "Brother Hua, please take me to the ancient city of Qingyu. I knew you're going to visit them." Python smiled and immediately left with Qin Feiyang. The Golden Dragons asked, "Longchan, what happened to Lord Dragon King? Why didn't he come back with you?" Longchan looked at the Golden Dragons and then at the people of the 3 races, and said indifferently, "The 3 of them are dead." "What?" The people of the 3 races were in disbelief. Ancient city of Qingyu. After so many years, this huge ancient city had not changed at all. The blood demon tribe that lived in the ancient city also lived their days in an orderly fashion. In the sky, Qin Feiyang and Python arrived silently. Looking at this familiar scene, Qin Feiyang's joy was hard to hide. And, suddenly, a blood demon youth in the city noticed Qin Feiyang and the fire python and raised his head to look at them. "Lord Guardian." The young man quickly flew up into the sky and said with a smile, "My lord, why didn't you tell us that you were coming to the ancient city of the Nether King? We could have come to welcome you." "Since we're already so familiar with each other, what's there to welcome?" The fire python smiled. This is. The teenager looked at Qin Feiyong again. Qin Feiyong was also sizing up this blood demon youth. Very young. His cultivation was only at the War Emperor. Clearly, he was a junior of the Blood Demon King. Guess who he is? The fire python smiled mysteriously. This. The young man scratched his head in confusion. Although he was still a youth in the blood demon race, due to the enormous size of the blood demons, he was even taller than an adult. In the meantime, in the ancient castle below, more and more blood demons noticed Qin Feiyong and the fire python. The younger generation of blood demons looked at Qin Feiyong with curiosity, but the older generation of blood demons had bewildered expressions. And this bewilderment gradually turned into excitement. Brother Qin. Suddenly, a roar sounded. Following closely, one by one huge figures rushed out from the ancient city, as if they were ancient giants. It was Shweta and the others. Seeing those familiar faces, a smile appeared on Qin Feiyong's face. He immediately walked up to them. Brother Qin, you missed me so much. Shweta took the lead and gave Qin Feiyong a bear hug. Don't be agitated, don't be agitated. Qin Feiyong roared. Didn't this guy know how strong he was? His small body was like an ant facing an elephant. How could he withstand this kind of enthusiasm? Shweta was stunned and hurriedly let go of Qin Feiyong. He smiled and said, sorry, I was too happy. Qin Feiyong helplessly moved the shackles, looked at Shweta, and then at Shwe and the others. He smiled and said, are you all okay? Okay. The group nodded. Dad, who is he? Why are the 10 commanders so excited? A teenager was suspicious. Him. He is Qin Feiyong, the human who left countless legends in our Nether King's hell. The older generation of blood demons couldn't help but reveal a look of reminiscence. What? He is the Qin Feiyong who challenged the divine dragon in our Nether King's ancient city back then. The younger generation of blood demons were shocked. Yes, the older generation nodded. He's our idol. I have to take a good look. Does he have 3 heads and 6 arms? He doesn't look like a big deal. His head is about the same as my thigh. How can he be so strong? The younger generation of the blood demon tribe started to discuss this. Hearing these words, the older generation of blood demons was speechless. How could the height of a human be compared to the blood demons? Whoosh! At this moment, another figure soared into the sky with an excited expression. It was the Nether King. Senior Nether King. Qin Feiyong sensed the aura of the Nether King and immediately looked down. The smile on his face became wider and he stepped forward to bow respectfully. Good, good, good. The Nether King sized up Qin Feiyong and couldn't help but laugh heartily. Our Lord Nether King is still the best. No matter how strong he is, he has to bow respectfully when he sees our Lord Nether King. A teenager said proudly. Kid, what do you know? He is respecting the Lord Nether King. Let me tell you, Qin Feiyong's strength back then was already not weaker than the Lord Nether King, let alone now. The older generation scolded jokingly. What a bunch of naive little guys. The Nether King suppressed his excitement and bowed to the fire python. Greetings, Lord Guardian. I've already said so many times. You don't have to be so polite in front of me. The fire python was dissatisfied. Of course you have to be polite. After all, there are so many juniors watching below. As the elders, we have to set a good example. The Nether King smiled. Up to you. The fire python was helpless. The Nether King looked at Qin Feiyong again and said emotionally, in the blink of an eye, so many years have passed. I thought that I would never have the chance to see you again. How could that be? Regardless of going to the Sky Cloud realm or returning to the Great Qin, don't we have to pass through the Nether King's hell? If I pass through the Nether King's hell, I will definitely come and visit you. Qin Feiyong smiled slightly. Sigh. The Nether King couldn't help but sigh when he heard this. Why? Qin Feiyong didn't understand. Although you've become stronger, your character hasn't changed at all. You're not like other people. Once you become stronger, you will become arrogant. The Nether King smiled. Don't worry. This kind of thing will never happen to me. Qin Feiyong shook his head. Suddenly he sensed another aura. He lowered his head and looked at the entrance of a hall in the center of the ancient city. He saw an old man in blood-red clothes standing at the entrance, looking up at him. This old man was the Nether King's father. Back then, he had tried every possible means to possess Frenzied. It was just that he didn't know if he had given up on this idea after so many years. However, even if he hadn't, he no longer had the chance now. Because with Frenzied's current strength, killing this old man would be as easy as blowing off dust. Humph! The old man in blood-red clothes snorted when he saw Qin Feiyong looking over. He then turned around and entered the hall without looking back. Qin Feiyong shook his head and smiled bitterly. It seemed that this old man was still brooding over what happened back then. If this old man had really succeeded in possessing Frenzied, then the one who was famous in the Skycloud domain now wouldn't be Frenzied. The Nether King noticed this scene. He looked at Qin Feiyong and said apologetically, "Brother Qin, don't mind him. You know my old father's character. He's just like that." "It's okay." Qin Feiyong waved his hand. He glanced at the blood demon race below and felt a myriad of emotions in his heart. Who would have thought that the seemingly weak blood demon race would be the hero who stopped the Divine Kingdom from invading the lower domain back then? It could be said that, if the Blood Demon King hadn't brought the Blood Demon race to the Nether King's Hell to stop the experts of the Divine Kingdom, the first and second levels, including the Great Qin and the Ancient Domain, would have been plunged into misery and suffering. However, such a hero was now forgotten by the world, and was even trapped in the Nether King's Hell. His cultivation would forever stop at the Ninth Heaven realm. How unfair was this? Qin Feiyong sighed. He bowed to the Blood Demon race in the ancient city and said, "I represent the entire human race and all the common people to thank you." Huh? Everyone looked at Qin Feiyong in confusion. King Yu Xuede and the others were the same. Qin Feiyong didn't explain. He smiled and said, "You will understand in the future." Ridiculous. Xuede scratched his head and didn't think much. He patted Qin Feiyong's shoulder and said, "Brother Qin, it's not easy for you to come here. Why don't we get drunk today?" Qin Feiyong looked at Xuede in astonishment. He shook his head and smiled bitterly. "How can I be in the mood to drink now? I still have a lot of things to deal with." Xuede was stunned. He frowned and said, "Don't tell me you are leaving soon." "Yes." Qin Feiyong nodded. Xuede was unhappy. "Xuede," King Yu scolded and sighed. "Although we know nothing about the Skycloud realm, the living beings of the Skycloud realm have all come to the Nether King's Hell. Something big must have happened. Brother Qin must be busy dealing with it. But there is no need to be in such a hurry." Xuede muttered. "There really can't be any delay. Now that the passage to the fourth floor has collapsed, if I don't go back with everyone now, I won't be able to go back in the future." Qin Feiyong smiled. King Yu was stunned and asked, "Are the people of the Skycloud realm leaving?" "Yes." Qin Feiyong nodded. King Yu smiled and said, "Then this is good news. The Nether King's Hell has finally returned to peace." "Yes. All these years we have caused you too much trouble." Qin Feiyong smiled. "It's not that troublesome. We don't have much interaction with them. They have never been to the ancient city of the Nether King. It's just that they are not used to a group of strangers suddenly coming." King Yu waved his hand. "Strangers," Qin Feiyong murmured. If Blood Demon King didn't bring the Blood Demon clan to the Nether King's Hell back then, would they still be strangers? Of course not. The Blood Demon clan's roots were in the Skycloud realm. No. He had to let the Blood Demon clan return to their homeland. Qin Feiyong clenched his hands slightly and raised his head to look at the unhappy Xuede. He smiled and said, "Brother, don't be like this. There will be plenty of opportunities to drink together in the future." All right, I know you are a busy man." Xuede pursed his lips. Qin Feiyong smiled helplessly. After a moment of silence, he turned to look at Hua Python and said, "Brother Hua, why don't you help me inform the old ancestor and ask him to come to the Nether King's Hell to pick me up in 2 days? Brother Qin, there is really no need." King Yu hurriedly said, not forgetting to glare at Xuede. But Xuede directly ignored him. His face was full of excitement as he shouted to the clansmen below, "What are you all standing there for? Get moving, prepare wine and dishes, and properly entertain Brother Qin." Immediately, the clansmen of the Blood Demon clan became busy. Looking at this scene, Qin Feiyong couldn't help but feel a warm current in his heart. Even though they weren't family, they were better than family. Python also shook his head and smiled, secretly contacting the Feather Emperor. As the guardian of this place, he naturally didn't need to go personally and could secretly communicate with the Feather Emperor. After receiving Python's message, the Feather Emperor smiled helplessly and continued to arrange for everyone to leave the Nether King's hell. This kid was really popular no matter where he went. Chapter 3888. At night. It was lively and noisy. In front of these blood demons, Qin Feiyang was like a dwarf. But this did not affect their communication and friendship at all. Moreover, he had already experienced the blood demon race's banquet. The wine bowls were just like huge vats. Moreover, be it the wine or the food, they all contained evil power. However, for the current Qin Feiyang, this evil power was no longer a threat to him. He could just refine it later. Of course, in front of these old friends, Qin Feiyang naturally would not be stingy. He took out hundreds of thousands of vats of divine wine. The entire ancient city was immediately enveloped in the fragrance of wine. Is this the taste of divine wine? It is indeed different. Shweta laughed loudly. Vats of divine wine were continuously poured into his stomach. With his size, a jar of divine wine was just a matter of drinking it in one gulp. Be more polite. This is divine wine, not plain water. Qingyu glared at Shweta. It's okay. I have plenty. Qin Feiyang smiled faintly. Did you hear that? I have plenty. Brothers, drink to your heart's content. Why don't we take all of his divine brew tonight? Shweta shouted at the top of his lungs. The others also joined in the commotion. Qingyu was helpless. It's okay. As long as everyone is happy. Qin Feiyang comforted them. They are only so happy to see you. Qingyu shook his head. Qin Feiyang glanced at them one by one. These faces really made one's heart feel warm. Wait. Suddenly Qingyu slapped his head. What's the matter? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. Qingyu said, I seem to have missed someone. Who is it? Qin Feiyang and the fire python exchanged glances and looked at him doubtfully. Follow me. Qingyu got up and soared into the sky, flying toward the southern city wall. Qin Feiyang and the fire python followed behind Qingyu. Very soon the city wall came into sight. There was a huge dragon lying on the city wall. This giant dragon was dozens of meters long, and its entire body was snow white. It lay on the city wall motionlessly, as if it was an exquisite sculpture. It was a snow dragon. Snow dragons were very rare. Because the snow dragon was the same as the white jade Qilin, it could be considered a mutated divine beast. So it was him. The fire python suddenly understood. You know him? Qin Feiyang was suspicious. The fire python smiled. Look at the head of the snow dragon. Qin Feiyang looked at the top of the snow dragon's head, and his expression froze. He saw a black-clothed youth lying on the snow dragon's head. This young man looked to be in his 20s. He was dressed in rags and his eyes were closed. There was a green foxtail in his mouth and he was snoring faintly. When he came back to his senses, Qin Feiyang couldn't help but smile bitterly. So it was this guy. Who would have thought that he would be in the ancient city of Qingyu? He came to the underworld king's hell with the people from the sky cloud realm. However, he has been sleeping here ever since he arrived. We didn't dare to disturb him. Qingyu was helpless. He had seen this young man before. Back then, he brought the ancient city of Qingyu along with Qin Feiyang and the others to the Fallen Valley. At that time he had met this young man in the Fallen Valley. Not only was this young man not afraid of the evil force in the Fallen Valley, his strength was unfathomable. Hence, ever since the young man came to the ancient city of Qingyu, Qingyu had been carefully worshipping him. Now, Qingyu brought Qin Feiyang here. Obviously, he wanted Qin Feiyang to bring the young man back to the sky cloud realm. Little brother. Qin Feiyang walked over. The young man slowly opened his eyes and looked at Qin Feiyang indifferently. He didn't say a word and closed his eyes again. Qin Feiyang's mouth twitched. Why was this guy so listless every day? Qin Feiyang landed on the city wall and looked at the snow dragon with a smile. Not bad, you changed your mount again. What's with that look? The snow dragon looked at Qin Feiyang in disdain. Huh. Qin Feiyang was stunned. This voice, wasn't it the voice of the snow python? You are? Qin Feiyong looked at the snow dragon in surprise. Yes, it's me. The snow dragon nodded. Not bad. Qin Feiyong was extremely surprised. This snow python had actually transformed into a snow dragon. It was really like a fish leaping through the dragon gate. How is it? Do I look good right now? The snow dragon smiled proudly. Yes. Qin Feiyong nodded. The snow dragon was really much more beautiful than other divine dragons. Immediately, Qin Feiyong looked at the motionless and silent young man and said helplessly, "Little brother, can you give me some reaction?" "What reaction do you want? You're not a little girl. Do you want me to pamper you?" The young man yawned, slowly opened his eyes, and looked at Qin Feiyong unhappily. Why did he come here? Didn't he see me sleeping? Qin Feiyong's face twitched fiercely. Pamper? It was a bit inappropriate to use this word on two grown men. Hurry up and drink with them. Don't disturb my sleep. The young man waved his hand impatiently and was about to close his eyes again. You know I'm here? Qin Feiyong was taken aback. Nonsense. You made such a big commotion, how could I not know? The young man rolled his eyes helplessly. Since you know, why didn't you come to visit me? Qin Feiyong asked. If you're a little girl, I can consider it. Unfortunately, you're not. The young man laughed. Qin Feiyong's face darkened. He stepped forward and grabbed the young man, saying, let's go and have a few drinks. We've known each other for so long, but we've never had a good drink together. Aren't you annoying? Is it so difficult to sleep? The young man roared in dissatisfaction. Qin Feiyong ignored him and dragged him to the banquet. Seeing the arrival of the young man, Shweta and the others were suddenly a little nervous. It's fine. We're all on the same side. Qin Feiyong smiled. After 3 rounds of drinks, Qin Feiyong looked at the young man beside him and asked curiously, why didn't you go to the Skybell Divine Treasure this time? What's so fun about that place? The young man said with a lazy look. Qin Feiyong looked at the young man in surprise and asked, have you been to the Skybell Divine Treasure before? Cough cough. The young man coughed and shook his head, saying, I haven't been there. If you haven't been there, how do you know it's not fun? And looking at your expression, it seems a little unnatural. Tell me honestly, who exactly are you? After so many years, no one has investigated your origin. Qin Feiyong was curious. My origin, the young man muttered and grinned. If I say that I'm the son of the god of creation, would you believe me? The son of the god of creation? Qin Feiyong was stunned. King Yu and Fire Python also looked at the young man in a daze. If you're the son of the god of creation, then I'm the brother of the god of creation. Shweta laughed loudly. The young man looked at Shweta with a strange expression. Qin Feiyong, King Yu, and Fire Python could not help but shake their heads and laugh. See, it's not easy for me to tell you the truth, but you don't believe me. What can I do? The young man shrugged. Okay. We believe that you're the son of the god of creation. Come, let's have a drink. Qin Feiyong held the wine cup and did not take it to heart. In the next few days, Qin Feiyong completely relaxed. During the day, he strolled around and looked around. At night, he drank and chatted merrily, especially the blood demon youth. At first, they were still somewhat in awe of Qin Feiyong, but as they slowly got along with him, they realized that Qin Feiyong was very easy to get along with. He did not put on any airs at all. Hence, they stayed by Qin Feiyong's side all day long. Qin Feiyong would also teach them cultivation sometimes. With his current strength, just a few pointers would be enough to benefit these juniors for the rest of their lives. But there was a problem. It had been lingering in Qin Feiyong's heart. That night, everyone gathered together as usual, drinking and chatting. After it ended, Qin Feiyong sat on the city wall and looked up at the evil moon with a frown. What are you thinking about here alone? Fire Python flew over and looked at him suspiciously. Qin Feiyong retracted his gaze and smiled at Fire Python. After pondering for a while, he asked, Brother Fire, you're now the guardian of the Nether King's Hell. Do you know why the blood demons can't leave the Nether King's Hell? Can't leave the Nether King's Hell? Fire Python was slightly taken aback and shook his head. To be exact, the blood demons can't leave the evil power because once they leave the evil power, they won't be able to cultivate. The result of being unable to cultivate will slowly become unable to survive. Then why is that? Qin Feiyang was puzzled. Fire Python pondered for a while and said, according to my observations over the years and my understanding of the blood demons and other creatures, it should be related to the marks on their bodies. I know this. Qin Feiyang nodded. Whether it was the blood demons or other creatures of the Nether King's hell, they all had marks on their bodies. Although they all have marks, their marks are different. The marks of the blood demons are the evil moon and the evil sun, while the marks of the other creatures are a skull. But no matter what the marks are, they all have one thing in common, and that is that they can all absorb the evil power. Although the other creatures here can't directly absorb the power of the evil sun and evil moon like the blood demon race, they still rely on the power of the evil sun to survive here. Fire Python said. Qin Feiyang nodded. He already knew about these marks back then. His initial guess was that these marks were related to the laws of the Nether King's hell, which was the same as the original Black Tortoise world. The original creatures of the Black Tortoise world also had marks. Later, when he became the ruler of the Black Tortoise world, he erased these marks. This way, the creatures of the Black Tortoise world wouldn't continue to be bound by the marks. But now, Qin Feiyang had another opinion. There was a fundamental difference between the Black Tortoise world and the Nether King's hell. The Black Tortoise world was an independent world, but the Nether King's hell was just one of the continents in the divine ruins. In other words, the Nether King's hell wasn't an independent world. A world that wasn't independent couldn't be the same as the Black Tortoise world. Actually, I have a guess. Fire Python hesitated for a moment and said, what guess? Qin Feiyang turned and looked at Fire Python suspiciously. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.